bunches of flowers laid there today, Pat. I saw one flat cap as well. Gianluca Vialli used to wear in his later days. I remember him wearing that as part of the coaching team, the Italian team that won Euro 2020. And actually on the big screens outside the ground, pictures of him and his goals everywhere. And the Chelsea players today warming up in all black training kit. Very simple, all of them. Number 9 on the back, Vialli's name across the shirt.
Yeah, it just now and again some things feel forced, and it doesn't feel forced in any way at all. There's just a deep, deep love of that man and what he's done for this football club. And certainly I look back at any times I met him, and he was a fabulous, fabulous footballer. He was an even better person.
Yeah, we absolutely wish he was still with us here today. 2 o'clock kickoff about to get underway. There's 2 of them in the Premier League. Commentary on Sports Extra this afternoon of Newcastle, Fulham. Lee Blakeman's going to keep us posted. Lee.
Hi Ali, yeah, the two teams are out here. Intriguing one this. Fulham flying 6th in the table, 5 wins out of 5 since the World Cup break. Newcastle 4th, knowing a win will send them 3rd. Newcastle are unchanged, meaning Joel Linton does start despite well-documented off-the-field issues this week. Fulham making 3 changes from the Chelsea win. Mitrovic returns from suspension to start against his former club. Diop and Kazawa also come in.
Thank you, Lee. Right, we're underway here in the sunshine at Stamford Bridge, and Conor Gallagher's away down the right-hand side for Chelsea, playing in all blue. Ball into the penalty area. There's the cutback, and Chelsea have won themselves a corner right at the start of this game. The atmosphere in here, Pat, is now going to be very interesting, considering what's going on the football field at the moment, off the football field as well. Both these teams absolutely desperate for a win in this game.
And we are, and Chelsea fans were getting a little bit grumpy, and that's putting it mildly, against Fulham the other night. However, they started in fine voice, as have the Palace fans, as they always do.
They're away to our left-hand side in that shed end. Corner taken short. Gallagher's cross into the near post. Chalobah has a swing and a miss. Mason Mount will chase this ball. Corner of the Palace penalty area. Plays it back to Lewis Hall. Driving run from him. Angles tight. Cross comes in. Good ball as well. Hacked away by Joachim Andersen. A very bright start by Graham Potter's Chelsea. 5 changes from the 2-1 defeat at Fulham on Thursday. Crystal Palace's team shows 3 changes from the FA Cup defeat recently against Southampton. Number 4 for Chelsea. New face, first appearance for the club, 21-year-old Frenchman signed from Monaco, Benoit Badiashile, and the left back Lewis Hall, just 18 years old, plays back to his goalkeeper Kepa Arrizabalaga. Pat, you and I were discussing how Chelsea might line up in this game, particularly in terms of their midfield. What do you think, just looking down from on high at the moment?
It's not too dissimilar to what I'd written out. Jorginho will be deepest. May get a little bit of help from Mount, but Ziyech ahead, Chukwuemeka and Gallagher ahead of them, and up front you've got that man Havertz.
Kai Havertz, tall figure, number 29 on his back, playing in the gloves this afternoon, plays the ball back to Chalobah. Wide it goes to Ziyech on the right-hand side. Forward to Havertz, tries to give it back to Ziyech. Havertz goes down, no free kick. The ball runs to Ziyech, tries to hit one of those trademark curling shots from the corner of the penalty area. Jordan Ayew is back defending for Crystal Palace. They can't get a touch of the ball at the moment in the early stages here, the visitors. Chelsea 0, Crystal Palace 0. It's back on the halfway line with Chelsea.
It's almost like a 4-1, but quite adaptable. Jorginho being the deepest of the 4 midfielders, but the other 4, like I mentioned before, getting up to help Havertz as much as possible. And Chelsea started well, probably more than anyone else. Lewis Hall starting extremely well.
Badiashile's lost the ball inside the Crystal Palace half. That had the Chelsea fans worried for a second. Guess who, though? Read it well, comes across, cuts it out, gets it back to the goalkeeper. The experienced head and boots of Thiago Silva. So Conor Gallagher drops alongside Jorginho as Chelsea build the play inside their own half. 3rd Premier League start of the season only for Hakim Ziyech. The last time Pat Nevin and I were together commentating, we were watching Ziyech be part of a Morocco team playing fabulously well and knocking Portugal out in the quarterfinals of the World Cup. Chelsea fans would love to see some of that Hakim Ziyech.
Well, there's a good atmosphere here today, but let's be fair. It's not really close to the atmosphere that night with the Moroccan fans, which was incredible.
Mykhailo Mudryk is here, Chelsea's new signing. We're expecting to see him on the pitch at half-time in this game. Another one added to the ranks for Graham Potter. Missing 10 first-teamers. I'll give you the 2 full-team lineups in just a second when we get our first break in play. Chelsea playing from right to left towards the shed end and playing well here. Mason Mount, cross in, and it's knocked behind by Guéhi, former Chelsea man, for a Chelsea corner. So quickly Chelsea's team, Kepa in goal, Chalobah, Badiashile, Thiago Silva, Lewis Hall is the back four. Jorginho, the deepest sitting midfielder. Gallagher, Chukwuemeka, Mason Mount and Hakim Ziyech in support of Kai Havertz, playing as the centre forward for Chelsea. Corner will come in from the right. Ziyech will take it, whips it in at speed. Silva gets the flick on, balloons his header over the crossbar, and behind it goes for a goal kick. Crystal Palace, very quickly. Vicente Guaita in goal. Nathaniel Klein, Joachim Andersen, Mark Gahey and Tyrick Mitchell, who's back from suspension, in their back four. Michael Olise, Czech Doucouré in central midfield. Ebere Eze back in the team. Schlupp, Ayew and Zaha. Pat.
Well, I was just going to say, it's kind of hard to figure out the system that Palace are playing, because they've hardly had a kick at the ball yet.
Zaha chases a long ball downfield. It's beyond him.
I think that's the big thing about it. Zaha's playing central and Ayew's playing wide, and that's usually the big question you have to ask about the team.
Yeah. So that's Olise over on the left-hand side, Ayew on the right-hand side, Eze, I beg your pardon, on the left, and Olise sort of in the number 10 role in behind Wilfried Zaha. Newcastle Fulham underway. Full commentary of Tottenham Arsenal from 4:30 with John Murray and Clinton Morrison here on 5 Live's Premier League Sunday. But a fascinating fixture, this one. Graham Potter in his thick coat down on the touchline beneath us. 7 defeats in the last 10 games. Desperately needing something positive from his team this afternoon. They have started well. Lewis Hall's given the ball away here. Joachim Andersen clears with his right foot. Pass down the right-hand touchline beyond Ayew. And Badiashile is able to come across and collect possession for Chelsea.
I don't think Ayew's enjoying the fact that Lewis Hall is basically playing as a left winger. So Ayew's, he's been asked to go back and cover there. He's just not doing it. So Hall's finding an awful lot of space here on this left-hand side.
Crystal Palace very nearly give the ball away. Get it back. Gahey up towards Zaha. Zaha's frustrated because he tried to just lay the ball off first time to Olise, who he felt wasn't quite on the same wavelength. Chelsea have the ball back again on the left with Lewis Hall. So Chelsea all in blue, white socks and white numbers on their backs, playing from right to left as we look at it. Jorginho in trouble, under pressure from Zaha, just holds onto the ball and gets it back to Kepa, all in bright orange. And Crystal Palace in pretty much all white kit, white shirts, white shorts, blue socks with red tops. And that's sort of, I always think it's quite sort of late 70s, early 80s style. There's a sort of band of red and blue right down the middle of the front of the shirt. Here's Olise on the ball, striding forward across the halfway line. Ayew tries to take the pass in his stride, holds onto it, finds Zaha. Badiashile in with the challenge. Thiago Silva flicks the right foot at the ball and clears it. Joachim Andersen heads it back forward, and Nathaniel Klein thinks about trying to make a move down the right. Ayew plays it back here to Andersen, wide to Klein on the right. Back it comes again to the Dane Joachim Andersen. Takes his time, passes the ball across the halfway line, where Schlupp picks up possession for Palace. There's Eze, long hair flowing behind him, tied back. Number 10 on his back for Palace. Comes back to Gahey. Havertz closes in. Gahey expertly just dances past him. Finds Joachim Andersen, comes across to Klein, and Klein with his right foot curls the ball down the touchline. Badiashile volleys it out of play. Early stages at St James's Park, then what's happening, Lee Blakeman?
0-0, 7 gone. Newcastle with a couple of good early chances. Joe Willock shooting wide from the edge of the area, and then just after that, Guimaraes, great through ball to pick out Longstaff, unmarked inside the area, shot deflected over for a corner. Lively start, Newcastle 0, Fulham 0.
7.5 minutes played in the first half here at Stamford Bridge. Zaha trying to hold on to the ball up by the Chelsea penalty area, works it back in Palace's favour. This is Olise making a move down the right. Lewis Hall's with him shoulder to shoulder. Olise does well and wins the corner for Crystal Palace. Pat Nevin.
Yeah, and that's when you see Palace at the very best. They've got Olise, Eze, Zaha, who are absolutely fabulous. All three are brilliant on the ball. They can beat players, they can take it towards players. When they got on the ball, they look dangerous, and they've done so there.
Corner taken short to Zaha. Eze's ball with his right foot. All three of the players Pat's talking about involved there. There's a foul inside the penalty area on Havertz. Free kick for Chelsea. So more rugby union action this afternoon. European action, Champions Cup. 1 o'clock kickoff it was. London Irish against Stormers. Here's James Burridge.
Now, London Irish have had a second player sent off. Kieran Parker's only been on the pitch for 2 minutes and straight away a red card for a shoulder to head at the breakdown as Irish are trying to score. That after Ben Loader was sent off in the first half for a head-on-head collision. So Irish suffering on the scoreboard, suffering in numbers too. They're 21 points to 0 down and they're down to 13 players.
Latest in the Masters snooker as well for you. Judd Trump leads Mark Williams 2 frames to 1. Coverage live on BBC Two this afternoon. This is 5 Live and BBC Sounds at Stamford Bridge in the company of Pat Nevin. We're watching Chelsea against Crystal Palace. It's 0-0, but it's been a bright opening to the game. And here come Chelsea down the left. The 18-year-old Lewis Hall. The pass not quite right for Chukwuemeka, so Ayew is able to sprint away with the ball. Jorginho slides in. Chelsea fans enjoy the commitment, and out it goes for a throw into Crystal Palace on the right. I expected sort of cagey intense, Pat, and it's actually been a better start than that.
It's been really enjoyable start. I mean, both sides really keen to get as many men forward quickly as possible, but watching Chelsea, it's a more joined up display than certainly the previous one against Fulham.
Zaha gets away from Thiago Silva. Has he knocked that ball too far? Kepa reacts well, sprints to the edge of the box, he's off his line. Jeffrey Schlupp charging forward, just runs straight into Thiago Silva. I wonder whether he might try the chipped effort to beat Kepa. Palace have won the ball back on the right hand side with Ayew, and here it comes.
By
to
the way, I
Klein.
think it was on. I absolutely agree with you. I think if he just had got the ball under control with one touch, didn't even have to look. Kepa was a long way out of his goal. Actually timed it well to get the header. He needed to do that because Chelsea had been done through the middle.
Another ball to chase down the left for Eze. Eze gets the better of Chalobah, reaches that ball by the byline inside the penalty area. The offside flag is up though, so Chelsea will have a chance to clear their lines. Chelsea 0, Palace 0, Newcastle 0, Fulham 0. Full commentary of Tottenham Arsenal from 4:30. And in the WSL, this was a commentary on Sports Extra this afternoon. Top of the table clash finished 1-1. Arsenal 1, Chelsea 1. 1 o'clock kickoff. Everton's women already 2-0 up on Reading. And Manchester United 0, Liverpool 0. That kicked off at 2:05. Coverage of that on BBC One this afternoon. Highlights of the WSL action on the Women's Football Show after Match of the Day 2 tonight. So that's 11:35 for the Women's Football Show on BBC One. Gallagher on the ball for Chelsea. Finds Chalobah wide on the right. Played back to Thiago Silva. Across it comes to Badiashile. So big afternoon for him, having just joined the club. Starting alongside Thiago Silva. In a back four, left-sided centre-back. Jorginho forward to Mason Mount, who comes zooming into view. He's made a good run here, Mount, in between the two lines of the Palace midfield and defence. He's going to get the ball back from Ziyech. Lays it back into Ziyech's path. Slides it through for Havertz just ahead of him, and quickly off his line is Guaita.
A bit like Ziyech when we watched him. He's very best playing for Morocco. You're getting on the ball, getting the ball high up the field. That's a bit the difference for Ziyech. When he gets the ball in the final third, he comes alive, but when he gets it deeper, he never looks quite as comfortable.
Manchester United's women have taken an early lead against Liverpool, so that's 1-0 to Manchester United. As I say, coverage on BBC One. This is Chelsea 0, Palace 0 in the Premier League. Conor Gallagher, another one with the long hair flowing, gets the ball back from Chalobah. Short pass to his left, finds his midfield partner Jorginho, gives it back to Gallagher, former Crystal Palace man, scored the late winner at Selhurst Park that got Chelsea a 2-1 win in Graham Potter's first Premier League game in charge back at the start of October. Everything was very rosy then, unbeaten in his first 9 games in charge with 6 wins and 3 draws. But since then, 7 defeats in the last 10 games. The real turning point was that first defeat, the 4-1 at Brighton, who of course were excellent again yesterday in their 3-0 win over Liverpool. Chelsea have found some space on the right. Chalobah just stops for a second, rolls it back to Gallagher, 30 yards from goal in the inside right channel. High spiralling ball across field to Lewis Hall in his yellow boots, plays it back to Jorginho. Chelsea recycle. Here's Badiashile, across to Thiago Silva. Silva's got his head up and wants movement from those ahead of him. Finds Ziyech, hugging the touchline on the right-hand side. Ziyech takes on Tyreek Mitchell. Mitchell sticks with him. Clever from Ziyech. Cross comes in. Havertz couldn't get a toe on it. And Crystal Palace are able to play out from the back. That was lovely from Ziyech.
Oh, beautiful little drag back. How often do you ever see Ziyech going wide on his right foot trying to get to the byline? He just basically never does it. Did it that time, but what a lovely piece of skill down by the byline. Couldn't quite pick out a blue shirt when he put it back in there, but he's had a much better start than many of his Chelsea games.
Gallagher inside the Palace half to Chalobah. Ziyech involved again. Bounces off the challenge of Tyreek Mitchell and plays the ball back to Thiago Silva. Forward it goes to Chukwuemeka. Chukwuemeka controls, turns, finds Lewis Hall just behind him. Badiashile gets involved. First time pass forward to Jorginho, just inside the Crystal Palace half. Lots of Chelsea possession in the first 13 minutes of this game. Ziyech cross into that penalty area. Schlupp clears it with his left foot. Elise's given it away, and here's the wiry figure of Ziyech again. Runs into a spot of bother. Tries to win a free kick. Havertz looking to win it back on the edge of the box. Ziyech trying to find Chukwuemeka to try and get the shot away. Palace have cleared, and Ayew has the ball at his feet and is charging forward. Jorginho just gets in his way, slows things up, and Crystal Palace come back to Mark Gahey. Pat Nevin.
It's falling into quite a pattern. You know, Chelsea are holding the ball very well, but when Palace break, they look very, very dangerous indeed. And part of that is because it's a very young backline of Chelsea's, isn't it? If you look at, you know, Badiashile, he's only 21. Lewis Hall, 17, 18, something
18,
like that.
yeah.
18. Chalaban, not an old player either. So when those players get on the ball, they believe they can do something.
Yeah, Thiago Silva very much feeling like dad in there. Palace trying to work their way through that Chelsea back line. Ayew looking for the 1-2 with Zaha straight through to Kepa.
Well, yes, you mentioned the fact that Thiago Silva feeling like dad in there, possibly grandpa. He's had a different centre back every week, just about. And at the moment, he's got Badiashile, who's very interesting. Very difficult to tell too much about him at the moment, but he is quite languid. It tells you that's a player who's confident with the ball at his feet.
Jorginho chips one through the middle. Havertz just tries to lay it into the path of Mount. Just got too much on it. Schlupp onto it for Palace. Chased by Chukwuemeka. Gets away from him. Played to the left. Eze looking for the run of Zaha. Thiago Silva has it covered and just toes the ball back to his goalkeeper.
Well, you can tell what Palace are trying to do here. They believe that there's space bin behind. The fact that Chelsea are playing with a back four just now, they're playing with Thiago Silva, not lightning quick. He reads the game unbelievably well. But Palace know that if they can get the ball behind there in a bit of space, there's no way that Zaha's going to fail in a foot race against the likes of Thiago Silva, and possibly, I would say, against Badiashile too.
Ball up towards the edge of the Crystal Palace penalty area. Becomes a 50-50 between Schlupp and Mount. They bounce off each other in the aerial challenge. Chelsea have a throw. Chalobah takes it quickly to Gallagher. Chelsea 0, Crystal Palace 0. Jorginho to Gallagher. Back to St James's Park shortly. Let's just see what Chelsea can do here. Chalobah back to Thiago Silva. Graham Potter looking ever so slightly anxious on the edge of the field, but must be encouraged by the way his team has started this game. Mount plays it wide to Ziyech, then Mount whips the cross in, caught at the near post by Guaita, so he's got the ball in his hands, which means we can go to Lee Blakeman at St James's Park.
Good contest this. Newcastle 0, Fulham 0. Possession fairly even, but Fulham have just had a great chance. Mitrovic proving to be a handful up top. Laid the ball off to Tete, edge of the area, fired over the bar. Never really troubling Nick Pope in the Newcastle goal. Newcastle 0, Fulham 0 with 16 played.
Newcastle starting the day in 4th spot, 35 points, 3 points behind Manchester United. Fulham not that far behind them on 31 points. So 4 points behind Newcastle and Tottenham. Tottenham Arsenal on the way here in full on 5 Live this afternoon. Kicks off at 4:30. Crystal Palace enjoying a bit of possession at the moment. There's Czech Doucouré, one of their summer signings. Lays the ball into the path of Gahey. Gahey up to the halfway line. Gets it back from Eze. Played here to Schlupp. Schlupp strokes it across to Anderson. Anderson curls the ball wide to Elise, who suddenly popped up in a right wing position. Elise plays it back to Anderson again. Measured stuff from Crystal Palace. Patrick Vieira, since taking over at the start of last season, 4 games against Chelsea and has lost all 4. As a former Arsenal man, that will not sit well with him, I know. Here's Elise, glides past Lewis Hall, just ran it too far. Jorginho slides in. Hall clears with his right foot. Havertz is going to try and hold on to this for Chelsea. Anderson gets a foot in, but the ball runs to Gallagher. Great tackle on Gallagher by Doucouré. Plays it forward to Eze, finds Ayew 25 yards out. Palace fans wanted him to shoot, couldn't quite get it under control in time, but Palace have worked it to the right. Klein gives it to Elise, and Elise again takes on Hall, beats him on the outside, gets the cross in. Kepa comes, doesn't get much on that. Ball's loose inside the box, Mitchell shoots, Kepa blocks, and that's the first real chance of the game. Pat Nevin.
And I think Kepa is very, very lucky there. He didn't win the first ball, he came out, he tried to punch it, didn't get anything on it at all. Ball was bobbling about in the box. When it was eventually shot, and it was, yes, he got his body out there, but it was luck as much as judgment. Kepa very, very lucky. Palace unlucky.
18 minutes gone in the first half. Chelsea 0, Crystal Palace 0 in this London derby. Next up for Chelsea away at Liverpool. Then a couple more London derbies against Fulham and West Ham. Here's Eze. Zaha makes a run, just a little dart forward in the inside right channel. Eze decided that wasn't the right time to release it. Elise suddenly looking very dangerous on the right. Just caresses the pass back to Joachim Andersen. Andersen across to Guéhi. Guéhi quickly ships it on to Schlupp. And back it comes to Guéhi. To Andersen. Chelsea with every outfield player behind the ball inside their own half. Wide to Mitchell. Pass slightly overhit, so all Mitchell can do is head that up in the air to try and keep it in play. Hooks it over his head, then tries to cross the ball on the volley into the box. Silva wins the header. Mason Mount tries to clear with his right foot. Chelsea appeal for a handball. They don't get that decision. And here come Palace again attacking down the right with Elise towards Ayew. Back to Elise. Elise looking up, thought about an early cross into that penalty area, decided against it, gets the ball back from Klein towards Zaha. Badiashile right behind him. Good run made by Elise. Ball sits down, drives it with his left foot. Great save by Kepa. Full stretch, tips it wide. Corner for Crystal Palace. That was some hit.
Yeah, in the last 2 or 3 minutes, Palace have come right back into it. They've got real confidence from that, triumvirate. Maybe even 4 players going forward, and you add Ayew onto it as well. But the play by Zaha and the build-up to that was brilliant. Drags players out of position. That's what gives the chance there for Elise to run in there. In the end, brilliant save by Kepa.
Corner then for Crystal Palace. Still Newcastle 0, Fulham 0. That game also kicked off at 2 o'clock. Commentary over on Sports Extra. Palace corner, delivered by Elise. That was a good ball. Headed away, edge of the box. Eze tries the volley, balloons it over the bar. Goal kick for Chelsea. London Irish having a tough time of it in the Champions Cup at home against Stormers. James Burridge.
And the Stormers have the bonus point try. Wing Angelo David scooping in, picking up the loose ball and scoring under the post. London Irish down to 13 players with Ben Loader and Kieran Parker both sent off for 2 straight red cards. 28-7 to the Stormers, 54 minutes gone.
So 20 minutes played here. Havertz may have been offside there as he tries to race onto the through ball. Goes for the lob, just over the crossbar. Then the flag goes up for the offside decision. So Chelsea 0, Palace 0. One thing I did mean to mention as well, Pat, just in terms of that lovely tribute we had to Gianluca Vialli before the game. Obviously others were invited to join those players that made it out to the field. Apparently Gianfranco Zola and Roberto Di Matteo felt they would just be too upset. It would just be too difficult for them to be here and think about him, and I get that.
Yeah, I totally understand it, and we're very close, and the Italian influence for a period of time at Chelsea was huge, but I certainly know that Gianluca and Gianfranco were very, very close.
Throw-in for Crystal Palace, in from the left. This is a good, even contest at the moment. Zaha's lost it. Chalobah just happy to smack it away with his right foot. Mount tries to control wide on the right, nods it forward to Havertz, and it goes out for a throw to the visitors, Palace.
It's very noticeable that Havertz, lots of Chelsea fans complain about the fact that Chelsea haven't got an out-and-out striker, someone who can hold the ball up. He's not holding it up brilliantly, Havertz, but he's working hard, he's chasing hard, he's pushing it as much as he can there, but it's just not his favourite position, is it?
Here's Ziyech under a bit of pressure. Tyreek Mitchell nibbling away, gets a foot on the ball, knocks it out for a throw-in to Chelsea on the right. Talking about goal scorers and centre forwards, Tottenham Arsenal commentary at 4:30. Don't forget Harry Kane is just 1 goal behind the club record of the great Jimmy Greaves, which is one of the great club records in this country. So could today be the day, because he does like scoring goals against Arsenal. Arsenal, of course, if they win the game, go 8 points clear at the top of the Premier League table ahead of Manchester City. Here's Badiashile, passes to Hall.
Just before you move on from Jimmy Greaves there, and remember, he also had an incredible record down here as well.
Yeah,
which was unbelievable, his numbers.
That's the point, Pat. So 266 for Tottenham, but 357 goals in the top flight in England. Obviously Chelsea and West Ham feature there, and that is a remarkable number. Great noise inside this stadium, still 0-0. Mount's layoff, clever one to Gallagher. Gallagher very deliberately passes down the channel for Havertz to chase on the right. Anderson gets a touch. I think that might have gone behind the byline. Yep, corner for Chelsea. Anderson complains, but we can see that from up here.
And he's done very well up until then. Anderson, he's really coped well with Havertz. Anytime Chelsea have had a third man running, they've got through, but he's gone over there and he's read the play really well. I think he's a a smashing game at the start of this game, but just that one moment where he a little bit too confident, ended up running the ball out and gives Chelsea a corner kick.
Ziyech gets ready to take the corner. He'll come in with real pace from that right hand side. He holds his right arm in the air, runs at the ball in his blue boots and floats a deep one to the edge of the box. Thiago Silva heads it towards goal, nodded away. Silva up again, leaps well, nodded back to Silva with his left foot. Brilliant save. Whiter must have seen that late, full stretch to his left. It was heading for the bottom corner and he tips it behind for a corner.
I think it's going to be offside in the end, but certainly it was just have Thiago Silva on his own was trying to beat them there. He's had two headers at it. Then his half volley there was absolutely magnificent. Havertz had actually stayed in an offside position there, and that's what the referee had called, although trying to figure out what is and isn't offside currently at the moment after last night.
Go on, Pat. I mean, I know everyone's had their say. Rashford is offside there, isn't he?
But look, certainly I would, if I was a referee, I would call that offside, because he's having an effect on the other players. He's not touched the ball, but he's having an effect in the way that players are lining up. But if you read the rules, it's actually not that clear. It's not that obvious.
Yellow card for Cheick Doucouré for a challenge on Conor Gallagher, both stretching for a 50-50 inside the Chelsea half. Chelsea could do without another injury, and Gallagher was about to get up and he stayed down for a second. That's a concern. And just going back to that conversation, Pat, I agree with you on that, because having watched Match of the Day last night, and when the offside rule came up, sort of letter of the law, I thought, well, actually I can see why they leant towards the decision that they gave.
That was what was really good, because when you put the law up, then you think, oh, that's not exactly how I thought the wording was, because the wording does change frequently. By the way, just watching Gallagher there, he was millimetres away from an incredibly serious injury there. He got very, very lucky there, and he knows it.
So was the yellow card correct for Cheick Doucouré?
Yes.
But just got lucky. Lee Blakeman, what's happening at St James's Park?
Still 0-0 Newcastle and Fulham. Couple of chances for Callum Wilson though. The first a shot deflected wide of the target. The second a header off a great cross from the right from Kieran Trippier. It went straight at Bernd Leno. Remember, just a win good enough to send Newcastle third today. At the moment they're level. Newcastle 0, Fulham 0.
Mid-session interval in the Masters Snooker continues on BBC Two. Judd Trump with a 3-1 lead over Mark Williams. Conor Gallagher's okay. He's on the ball for Chelsea on the right. And he's making a strong run into the penalty area, looking for the cutback, wins Chelsea another corner. Chelsea, by the way, have now confirmed the signing of the Ukraine forward Mikhailo Mudryk, having agreed personal terms with the club. You will never guess, Pat, how long the length of deal that they've agreed.
7 years.
Longer.
Oh, really? 10?
No, that was only 8.5.
Wow.
8.5 year deal for Mikhailo Mudryk. Ziyech corner.
I think I know part of the reason for that.
Go on.
With FFP, you have to amortise their deal over a longer period so that you can afford to buy players.
There we go. And I think he's going to be on the pitch at half time, so we'll get our first look of him here at Stamford Bridge in about 20 minutes or so. 26 minutes into this first half, Lewis Hall plays the ball back to his goalkeeper Kepa, who had to make the one block from Tyrick Mitchell, having had a bit of a flap at a cross earlier on in this half. Jorginho creeping forward, finds Chalobah, nice pass to Ziyech, good layoff as well. Chip ball in towards Havertz, could try and lay this back to Chukwuemeka, trying to bring it down for himself. Palace's clearance only as far as Mount. Mount looking for the 1-2 with Ziyech, and a nice bit of link-up play down that right. This one doesn't quite come off, and that's a throw-in for Chelsea. Yeah,
there have been moments, haven't there? And it's looked as if it's just about to happen for Chelsea, but not quite. Actually, the classic example there. I'll finish that in a moment.
Oh yeah, Ziyech, that is a lovely reverse pass. Mount's cross in, and Guaita grabs it at the near post.
Well, they've got to the byline about 4 or 5 times on the right-hand side, Chelsea. Now, that might not sound like a great deal, but that's something that Chelsea haven't been able to do recently. Mount's running in that sort of area, understanding, as you say, with Ziyech, has been pretty special. And as I say that, I think Mount actually slightly changed his position. I think he's trying to move up alongside Kai Havertz as much as he possibly can now, because Havertz, playing on his own up front is not quite right for him. And just a moment ago, he had half a chance there. Had he been running on from deep, Havertz would probably have scored it, but he had his back to the goal and he couldn't do anything with it.
Chelsea 0, Palace 0 here, Newcastle 0, Fulham 0 there, as in St James's Park. Commentary over on Sports Extra. Tottenham Arsenal kicks off at 4:30. John Murray and Clinton Morrison We'll bring you commentary of that one. Everton's women now lead Reading by 3 goals to 1 in the WSL. Lewis Hall trying to win a ball for Chelsea just outside the Palace box. Conor Gallagher bumps into Elise, goes to ground, and actually Chelsea could have played. They take the free kick quickly. Referee Peter Banks has allowed that. Hall to Chukwuemeka. Chukwuemeka gives it back to Hall, but can't control the return pass to him. Badiashile wins the header above Wilf Zaha, and that's a throw-in for Palace just inside their own half on the right. Manchester United's women lead Liverpool by 1-0.
Yeah, just watching Palace, I mean, I think they had a good 10-15 minutes there, and at that 15 minutes they were, they're comfortable. They started making chances, but Chelsea have woken up again, so it has ebbed and flowed really well just now.
2-0 to Manchester United's women. Russo has the second goal for them. 2-0, coverage of that on BBC One. Lewis Hall jumps, wins a header above Jordan Ayew. Another throw-in for Palace, so they've made about 20 yards down the right-hand side. We get a close-up shot of Mark Hughes, arms crossed, looking a little chilly here at Stamford Bridge this afternoon, but absolutely fabulous to see him here.
Can't believe you never mentioned Frank Sinclair beside him.
Frank Sinclair, yes, exactly.
He was a good mate, so I couldn't mention him.
Throw in on the right for Nathaniel Klein. Pat Nevin with us here at Stamford Bridge, where he, of course, used to dance his way down the touchline.
I was trying to figure out what the booing was. A big booze there for a moment. I think it's Cucurella who's getting it from the Palace fans.
Yeah.
Sometimes it takes you a while to work this out.
Yeah, well done, Pat, you're right. Just warming up down there in front of them. Elise's cross into the Chelsea box. Badiashile slightly miscues the clearance, but had to get something on it. The ball spins high off his foot and goes behind for a corner to Palace. So half an hour in, Chelsea 0, Crystal Palace 0.
Just at the moment, the last cross that came in, I don't think Kepa covered himself in glory, and I would suggest an in-swinger this time, and as I say that, left-footed, that's what's going to happen.
Here it comes, and there it is, Elise's delivery. Silva gets a head on it for Chelsea. Ziyech speeds out to the right to win it, brought down by Joachim Andersen. He doesn't feel there was too much in that, but Chelsea get themselves the free kick. Shouldn't forget as well, if Palace win this game, they are level on points with Chelsea. The point you made, of course, back ahead of kick-off. Chelsea is close to the top 4 as they are to the bottom 3.
And everybody does talk about looking up, and even we were having a chat beforehand, in the hour or so before the game, the teams that are going to finish in Europe. Well, you don't always look up. You sometimes have to look down as well, and that's why it's very, very important that, for Chelsea in particular, that they get a win today. But at the moment, it'd be hard to say they absolutely deserve it.
No.
I think probably, no score or a 1-1 would be the right score at the moment.
Yeah, no, I agree. Here's Jorginho on the turn, space to work with. Curls a low ball to his right, finds Chalobah. Chalobah has Ziyech again wide on that right touchline. Ziyech's ball into the edge of the box. Mount plays it back to him. Ziyech curls the cross in. Here's Havertz! Oh, he's headed it over. What a chance. He's taken a knock in trying to convert that cross because Vicente Guaita came flying out at him. You'll know better than me, but I still think Havertz should have scored, shouldn't he?
Yeah, had he been onside, and I thought he'd went a wee bit early, to be honest. But he should have scored. He should have put that in the net. He knows, he can see that big lime green jersey coming towards him, and he knows he's going to get a hit, and that's probably what kind of takes his eyes slightly off the ball there. He's slightly protecting himself, but yeah, he should get that one on target. That is perfect Havertz.
I think your eyes are spot on there, Pat, because just looking at the replay, although the flag didn't go up, I wonder whether VAR might have picked up an offside there. Yeah, so ball back with Kepa. Kepa to his right finds Thiago Silva, right down by that byline, but so calm under pressure. Chelsea work it well. Chalobah infield to Conor Gallagher, just outside his own box to Silva. Silva curls a lovely first-time ball into the path of Badiashile. What a privilege for him to play alongside Thiago Silva on his Chelsea debut. Hall, that's a nice little pass down the left. Here's Chukwuemeka moving at speed. Elise tries to get back to him. Lewis Hall makes the overlap on the outside. Cross comes in. Oh, chance for Ziyech. Controls it. Angle's very tight. Now then, Chelsea appealing for a handball. Don't think they're going to get that. They are going to get a corner.
Again, much better from Chelsea. They've lifted it again. Getting the ball to Havertz, who's actually now beginning to find little bits of space at that back post. This time it didn't land at him. It landed at Ziyech, whose control was eventually very, very good. But you've got to say the defending from the back four from Palace is pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah.
They never budge. They stay there on the back line and they don't leave many gaps.
Ball hit Tyreek Mitchell's left hand, but it was right by his side. Ziyech's corner comes in, that's good delivery. Badiashile can't get the header on target. Ball now back in the danger zone from Palace's point of view. Great running by Elise as they come clear. Hall comes across to tackle him though. Could be an opportunity for Chelsea. Mount towards Havertz. Havertz is half stopped on his tracks. Mount gives it back to Lewis Hall on the left. Palace now back in numbers in those white shirts away to our left. Chalobah down the line to Lewis Hall, who just dinks a ball up in the air. Badiashile controls it on the instep of his right boot, plays it to Jorginho. All this play going on inside the Crystal Palace half. Gallagher wide to Ziyech.
And by the way, centre forward Thiago Silva just stayed up. He stayed up all this time. Oh, he's finally gone back now.
There he is, yeah, just trotting back to the halfway line. Jorginho has Mount ahead of him. Mount zings the pass back to him. Jorginho moves it wide again to Ziyech. Another tempting cross. Too close to the goalkeeper, this one. So Guaita makes the catch. Joachim Andersen has a problem. Play is going to stop here. Perfect opportunity for us to head to St James's Park and get the latest on Newcastle Fulham from Lee Blakeman.
It's 0-0. We've got a break in play here as well. Nick Pope has gone down, currently receiving treatment. I'm not quite sure what the problem is because Fulham haven't actually had an effort on target yet, but this is quite a lengthy stoppage as Nick Pope has a conversation with the Newcastle physio. Newcastle have just gone close a few moments ago. Miguel Almiron shot deflected wide on target. Bernd Leno was in trouble. As it is, nothing came of the corner, and with 10 minutes to go until half time, it's still Newcastle 0, Fulham 0.
Commentary continues over on Radio 5 Sports Extra, talking Sports Extra. Heard from Russell Fuller in 5 Live Sport ahead of our first commentary this afternoon. The team is out there for the Australian Open. It starts tomorrow. It will be on regularly on Extra, 7 o'clock every morning with tennis breakfast, but it's a very early start tomorrow, 5 a.m. start, because there's a very enticing first round tie for Jack Draper. Great Britain's Jack Draper is taking on Rafael Nadal. So 5 o'clock tomorrow morning if you're up early, I can recommend that. And in between that, obviously, Football Daily podcast. If you're a subscriber, or if you're not, go and find it, which will have all the reaction, debate, analysis, interviews, everything you need after today's football. So Joachim Andersen is back on his feet, walking back to the halfway line. We're at Chelsea 0, Palace 0. 10 minutes left in the first half. What have you made of it, Pat?
Well, actually, it's not been a bad game, and it's had an unusual reaction around the stadium. I mean, the place is mobbed. It's completely and utterly packed, but it is quite quiet. And even the Palace fans, who you usually get used to jumping about a lot, they'd be fairly subdued as well. Now, it may well be that the initial feeling, thinking about Luca Vialli at the start, has had an effect as well. But, there's no anger in the Stamford Bridge ground just now towards their team. They're a wee bit angry with Palace at the moment for taking their time to make what looks to be an important substitution.
Yeah, Joachim Andersen looks like he's going to have to come off, and he's just delayed coming off the field because Palace aren't quite ready to make the change, and that is what the Chelsea fans are unhappy about. Peter Banks is onto it. He's blown the whistle. The game is back underway. So Crystal Palace temporarily down to 10 men, and as Pat says, they have lost a key man there in Joachim Andersen, who has started 16 of the 17 Premier League games this season. Of course, before he went to Palace, had that season on loan at Fulham. Absolutely key member of the Palace team, and at the moment Cheick Doucouré has dropped in at right-sided centre-back alongside Mark Gahey. Can Chelsea take advantage? Conor Gallagher, I think, tripped there just inside the Palace half, so Chelsea will get a free kick. 8 minutes remaining in the first half. Still Chelsea.
That gets me, that. Why are you not ready? Really, why are you not ready? You should always be ready to go on at any point in the game. I mean, just maybe if you have to tie up your boots or something like that. But that's taken them a good long time. They could have lost a goal in that moment.
Well, it happened yesterday, Pat. I was doing Brentford Bournemouth last night, and Lewis Cook went down for Bournemouth, received some treatment, looked like he was going to have to come off, and then tried to run off the injury. So play continued for another 2 minutes, and then had to be substituted. And Ben Pearson wasn't ready to come on, which was amazing, considering you must think, well, there surely is a good chance I'm coming on here.
No, I mean, you should be ready whether there is or whether there isn't, if it possibly can be. But Well, they've got away with it, and they've got the full complement back in the pitch.
Tompkins, James Tompkins has come on. Now, last time we saw him in Premier League action, he was the second Palace player sent off on Boxing Day at home against Fulham. Lewis Hall's cross blocked by Nathaniel Klein. Chelsea fans enjoyed that. Lewis Hall's taken a slight knock and trying to get that ball in. Chelsea have a corner.
You know, anytime a Chelsea player goes hobbling, you do worry, because they have so many injuries. It's incredible. But the hope and expectation is he'll be okay. Do you know the thing about Hall? He's going to be good enough. I don't think there's any doubt about it.
Corner taken short. Gallagher gets it back from Ziyech. Here's the cut back. Chukwuemeka with his right foot, blocked by Doucouré. Ball falls to Ziyech. Left hand side, cross comes in. Good delivery as always. Tompkins heads it away. Chukwuemeka slides a pass to his right. Mason Mount lets it run across his body, goes sprinting after it. Chalobah wide on the right for him, just short of the Palace penalty area here. Chalobah makes 10 yards infield, plays back to Jorginho. Closing stages of the first half at Stamford Bridge here on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. As Ziyech plays it down the left to Lewis Hall, slightly stumbles, keeps going, accidentally knocks the ball through the legs of Jordan Ayew.
He's injured, that's why he stumbled. He's injured.
Ayew able to recover and clear up to the halfway line. Zaha gives Badia Sheila shoving the back, and Chelsea get themselves the free kick.
Hall is definitely injured. That's why he stumbled there. It was very, very odd, the fact that he got beyond the play. He's looked very, very good in this first half, but at the moment he's hobbling a bit. And I think he's slightly kind of rolled his ankle a little bit, so it's not far from half time if he can just about manage until then.
Marc Cucurella is the obvious replacement, fit and available on the Chelsea bench. At some point it will be worth reading out that list of 10 first team players unavailable at the moment to Graham Potter. Ziyech dances away from a couple of challenges, finds Gallagher, loads of space on the right. Gallagher's cross in, Havertz missed it. Hall puts it back across goal, just wide, right across the face of goal. Vicente Guaita was sat down and he could only watch despairingly as the ball fizzed back past him, but it didn't nestle in the bottom corner, it went the other side of the post.
He's got himself into some brilliant possessions, Hall, not just in this game, but each time he's played for Chelsea since he came into the team there. Do you know that wasn't an easy chance? It should be a corner kick. There certainly was a touch there from Guaita as it's gone through there, but he's so unlucky. But a great chance again for Chelsea.
5 minutes remaining in the first half. Goal kick, Crystal Palace. Quickly back to St James's Park. Lee Blakeman.
0-0, but we've just had the best chance of the game here as well. Cher with a through ball. Wilson took it on the turn. Fierce shot, well saved by Leno to turn it over the crossbar. 5 to go until half time. 0-0 Newcastle and Fulham.
WSL, Arsenal 1, Chelsea 1 a result. Everton's women now lead Reading by 3 goals to 2. That was a 1 o'clock kick-off, 5 goals already. And Manchester United's women on BBC 1, 2-0 up on Liverpool at the moment. Leicester Brighton kicks off at 3. West Ham Manchester City at 6:45 with the WSL back in action this weekend. Here's Havertz. Finds Mount, sliding challenge by Klein on Mount. That's a foul, that's a yellow card, that's a Chelsea free kick.
It's one of those ones where Klein goes in there, and if you don't get the ball, because you go to the ground, the referee's every likelihood he's going to reach for his card there. And Klein was far too late there. The ball had gone away. The referee's got that one right again.
So free kick Chelsea, 3.5 minutes remaining in this first half. Graham Potter just trying to get a quick word out onto the field to his 18-year-old left back Lewis Hall.
I think he just wants to make sure he's okay, he's not injured too much.
Here comes the diagonal, so Thiago Silva's going to test him out, and Klein's there to head the ball away. Chelsea throw on the left. Tottenham Arsenal in full from 4:30 this afternoon, and then 6:06 as always. Chris Sutton, Robbie Savage taking the calls after that game on 5 Live this evening. Chukwuemeka's cross blocked at close range behind for another Chelsea corner.
Finished the second half strong, aren't they, Chelsea? Much stronger. You've got to see, when you look back in it now, I would say it was a 10 maybe 12 minute period where I think Palace really had a good little spell there, but apart from that, Chelsea started better, and they're certainly ending the second half better.
Yeah, I'll give you the possession stats in a sec, Pat. Let's just see what Chelsea do with the corner. Conor Gallagher getting some stick from the fans he used to play for quite brilliantly, you have to say, last season. The point they were making was that the ball wasn't touching any part of the quadrant.
By a millimetre.
Peter Banks comes over and sorts it out. Gallagher's corner. Headed away by Tompkins, might fall here for Mount, miscues the volley, the ball rebounds into the path of Chalobah, who's just going to let that run behind for a corner. 72% possession for Chelsea, no shots on target so far.
Yeah, I mean, I'm slightly wary of that, the fact that I want to know what the percentage of possession is in the final third.
Yeah, okay.
It's easy to keep possession in your own half, dead easy, but that's where you want to see the possession, and clearly by that there's not been enough.
Corner for Ziyech into the near post. Ayew heads it away, straight up in the air. Chalobah nods it back into that Crystal Palace penalty area. Eze chases the clearance. Eze does well, holds on to it for Palace. Good bit of skill to take him past Ziyech. He's fouled. Free kick for Palace. Are those stats not good enough, Jan Southall? If you can.
No, it's, to be honest, it's what you'd expect. You know, to some
from John,
degree.
you mean? I'm joking.
He'll get you back, John. I'll do it for you. Don't worry. I'll do it for you.
I know you will, Pat. No, sorry, go on. It's what you'd expect.
Yeah, it's what you expect, really. You know, Chelsea being the home side, they actually have kept the ball quite well. They've had a very positive 4-1 shape. They've tried to get the full-backs up. You know, all those sort of positive things. But it's where the important touches are in that final third, and that's really where I always want to know where the real thing is, because, you know, one pass in the final third is equal to about 7 or 8 in your own third.
Last minute of the first half. Chelsea 0, Palace 0. No goals at St James's Park either in our Sports Extra commentary. Newcastle 0, Fulham 0. Lee Blakeman with the half-time details on the way. Steve Crossman back with us shortly. Eze has come deep to get onto the ball for Palace. Plays it across to Klein inside his own half. Wide to Elise. Elise's ball in field to Ayew. Is able to turn away from Jorginho. Good dribbling as well. Beats Gallagher. Players making runs ahead of him. He goes wide to the left to Mitchell. Mitchell's high swinging cross headed away powerfully by Thiago Silva. Cheick Doucouré nods it down into the path of Ayew here. Ayew's next cross blocked by Chalobah. And Tyreek Mitchell wants that ball to go out for a corner, which it does for Palace.
Yeah, with 2 more minutes to play just now. I mean, if Palace scored, that would just almost sum up the luck that Graham Potter's had recently. You know, they've just played quite well. They've got to the byline quite a few times, Chelsea. Of course, Palace look quite decent in the break. They've got very, very good players on the ball. But if Chelsea lost a goal now, it would sum it up.
I bet you. I mean, I don't know. We can't be inside Graham Potter's head, but he's probably thinking that exact thing. Please, not just before half-time. After what's been a fairly decent first half for Chelsea, and the same thing's now going on down by the quadrant for this Palace corner, which is going to come in from the left. Added time at the end of the first half. In it comes. Oh, Kepa with a really good save from the header from Schlupp. Ball loose inside the Chelsea box. Chukwuemeka flicks it away. Ziyech can't get away. It's Zaha back there who makes a really important tackle for Palace, and then Ayew nods the ball down to Elise.
Well, you've got to say 2 absolutely magnificent saves for Kepa so far today, and you know there have been 1 or 2 difficult moments for him recently. They've been great saves.
Ziyech playing forward quickly to Havertz, pretty much on his own. Blue shirts come tearing towards him to offer their support late in this first half. Gallagher chips it down the line for Havertz, forced wide, gets it back to Gallagher. 3 blue shirts in the middle to aim for. Cross comes in, can't find Chukwuemeka. Guaita comes and punches. Might fall, but Ziyech! Oh, Guaita blocks at close range, tips it over the bar. Chelsea were inches away from taking the lead.
Well, it's been a very good couple of minutes he's added on here. A really good chance for Crystal Palace there. Well saved. I mean, super save beforehand. The Guaita's come out there, done the nuts and bolts of it for punching it out. But his second save there was magnificent.
A couple of brilliant saves at either end. Fabulous goalkeeping. Last 10 seconds of the first half. 0-0. Chelsea corner. Ziyech with the delivery, slightly deeper. Guaita comes, tries to get a fist on it. Ball is clear. Zaha controls, thumps the ball up towards the halfway line. The half-time whistle blows. And a smattering of applause, Pat Nevin, from the Chelsea fans around us.
Yeah, they're fair. The Chelsea fans are fair because they know there's been a good amount of effort, and they'll look through that team of theirs down there and realise there's a lot of young players out there, and they're giving it all they can. They've got to the byline a few times, they've created a few chances, and there looks like a little bit of fight about the team. That's what they're applauding. That's what they think's been missing, and I think the Palace fans can applaud as well, because you know the defence, the back four has looked really good. They could well miss, you know, Anderson at the back now that he's gone off. But if you look at it at the moment, Chelsea more of the possession, slightly more of the chances, but there's not that much in it.
Couple of Spanish goalkeepers to the fore just before half-time. World-class saves at either end. First from Kepa, then from Guaita. That is why at half-time here on 5 Live, it is Chelsea 0, Crystal Palace 0.
And that, Pat Nevin, is exactly what I want to ask you about. We started the game talking about 7 or 8 different wingers, and we end the first half talking about 2 great goalkeepers.
Yeah, but they have to save from the shots from the wingers most of the time. But yeah, they've done really well, both goalkeepers. There was a hairy moment for Kepa earlier on where he went out flapping at the ball early on, and he got lucky with the save. But apart from that, actually, he's been very, very good. And as you say, Guaita there, that second save, and when he punched it out, and then it was point blank. I say point blank. He's gone out. He was 6 yards. The shot was taken from about 12 or 13 yards, but he just got his fist up in time and flipped it over the bar. And what a brilliant time that would have been for Chelsea and Graham Potter. But then again, they could have lost one just seconds before. So yeah, the game is absolutely up in there. And just there's so many games in the Premier League this season, it's almost impossible to call. In fact, it is impossible to call now.
Pat, Ali, thank you very much then for the time being. Chelsea 0, Crystal Palace 0 on 5 Sports Extra. We've got full commentary of Newcastle against Fulham, still playing in the first half there, Lee.
The half-time whistle, literally, Steve. Perfect timing as you come over. It's just blown. Newcastle 0, Fulham 0. Newcastle with all of the chances. The best one, Callum Wilson, with a shot on the turn inside the area. Well saved by Leno in the Fulham goal. Wilson's had a few chances, actually. None of them taken, though. Willock has been lively for Newcastle. So too has Almiron down the right. Fulham, no shots on target. Mitrovic has been kept really quiet. Tete has fired over from the edge of the area, and that's about all Fulham have managed so far. 2 teams having good seasons, but because of that, they're really well organised and cancelling each other out at the moment. I think this first half has been what the kids these days would call a bit meh. Newcastle 0, Fulham 0.
I just saw Bruno was in tears as he was coming off the pitch then.
I'm not sure what's going on there. He came to the side of the pitch for a little bit of treatment, but it was nowhere near the kind of lengthy treatment that Nick Pope had at around about the same time. Nick Pope, by the way, moving just fine, but I'll be keen to see what's going on with Bruno Guimaraes. He didn't look too comfortable as he's just made his way down the tunnel beneath me, so we'll see if he re-emerges at the start of the second half. I'll keep you bang up to date.
All right, Lee, thank you very much indeed. Scores in the Women's Super League, and the early kick-off, the top 2, it finished Arsenal 1, Chelsea 1. It's now Everton 3, Reading 2, and Manchester United have scored again against Liverpool, so it's Manchester United 3, Liverpool 0. Into the European Rugby Champions Cup, London Irish Stormers full-time. James Burridge.
And the Stormers have won this one 28 points to 14. They've been a different class, Steve, today. Extremely physical and aggressive. Their set piece and defence dominated, and they took their chances well. The best of the bunch, right wing Hartzenberg, grabbing a deft chip over the top, breaking 3 tackles to score. London Irish just couldn't find a way through, and life was made close to impossible with 2 players shown straight red cards. Ben Loader for a head-on collision with in the first half. Kieran Parker for a clumsy clear-out at the breakdown. So London Irish's European hopes are over. The Stormers are very much alive.
Impressive win for Edinburgh at Cast, though.
Absolutely, yes. And Edinburgh are just proving, and this is why we look at the makeup of the tournament as well, Steve. Eight teams go through into that last stages from each side. So the last 16 in this Champions Cup format is always really intriguing.
James, thank you very much indeed. Cast 21, Edinburgh 34. That's the European Champions Cup. In the Challenge Cup, it's currently Cardiff 42, Newcastle Falcons 10. Back to the Masters snooker final. Judd Trump and Mark Williams, watched by Jamie Broughton.
Well, Judd Trump, who's trying to become a 2-time Masters champion, had to sit in his seat and watch Mark Williams win the opening frame with a brilliant break of 138. But since then, it's been the Bristol star that has played the better snooker. He hit back with breaks of 61 and 106 to lead 3-1 at the mid-session interval. We're back underway after the break. There have been chances for both players in this frame 5 and a few uncharacteristic misses as well. Trump, though, is back at the table now. He's on a break of 43 with a good chance to extend his lead to 4-1. 10 is the target to be crowned champion.
Jamie, thank you very much indeed. On BBC Two right now, you've got the final match of that series between England and Jamaica in the netball. The series is tied at 1-1, and it's currently England 34, Jamaica 35 in the third quarter. So that looks like it's going to be a thrilling finish. We'll make our first trip of the afternoon to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium next. Spurs Arsenal, North London derby, live in full at 4:30. Once we're done at Stamford Bridge, second half commentary on the way. Chelsea 0, Crystal Palace 0. All of that to come after the news with Stuart Clarkson.
Listen on BBC Sounds. This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Steve, thank you. Good afternoon. Police say a 7-year-old girl is in a critical condition after a shotgun was fired from a moving car outside a church in central London yesterday. 5 other people were also hurt in the attack near Euston Station, which happened as crowds left a memorial service. The search for survivors of a plane crash in Nepal has been called off for the evening. The aircraft was carrying 72 passengers. At least 68 of those have been confirmed dead. The flight from Kathmandu crashed close to an airport near the tourist town of Pokhara. The Labour leader Sir Keir Starmer has told the BBC he doesn't support 16-year-olds being able to change their legal gender. He says he has concerns about legislation passed in Scotland last month. And the Transport Secretary says he's backed rail operating companies to make a new pay offer to unions this week. Mark Harper told the BBC both sides are keen to reach an agreement, but says the details still need to be hammered out.
On BBC iPlayer, we got to fight the powers that be. The story of a movement that changed the world.
Hip-hop was created by the oppression because it was our arts that defended us against the oppression.
Told by the artists who lived it.
When hip-hop started, it started from the rubble.
My art mimics me. So when you listen to my music, you're getting all the facets of Ice-T.
And me, Chuck D.
Hip-hop has saved lives.
Fight the Power. How hip-hop changed the world. Starts Saturday night on BBC iPlayer.
This is 5 Live Sport
with Steve Crossman.
Welcome back to Premier League Sunday. Chelsea 0, Crystal Palace 0. Second half commentary on the way. We've got the second semi-final of the Scottish League Cup at Hampden this afternoon. Gets underway in 5 minutes' time. Either Rangers or Aberdeen will face Celtic in the final. Celtic beat Kilmarnock last night. And Roddy Forsyth is there for us.
Yes, and I'm glad to say that the weather's in complete contrast to yesterday's monsoon gale. It remains to be seen how the pitch is going to hold up after the battering it took in the first semi-final. Ange Postecoglou, the Celtic manager, said after that game that it had been below standard. Now these teams, Rangers and Aberdeen, met at Pittodrie 3 weeks ago when Aberdeen led in injury time before conceding goals to Scott Arfield 5 and 7 minutes into the added period. That's nourished a sense of grievance amongst the Dons players and their support. And Jim Goodwin fields the team unchanged from their 2-0 victory over St Johnstone against the Rangers side unbeaten in 8 under Michael Beale. They show 2 changes from the winning lineup with Alan McGregor and Alfredo Morelos starting.
Speaking of Morelos, hasn't the Aberdeen captain got himself into some trouble around him?
Yes, he did. Anthony Stewart said in the build-up, he was having a chat in the semi-final press conference, and someone said to him, who do you rate the better striker, Antonio Cholak or Morelos? Now there's a trap there, of course, if you start answering these questions, but Anthony Stewart said that he and his teammates rated Cholak as better than Morelos. Jim Goodwin, the Aberdeen manager, summoned him to his office, then subsequently said that was a regrettable comment, and wouldn't you know it, Cholak misses out through injury, so it's the Colombian striker who faces his distractors from the Granite City. Hey.
You see, it's right, it is a trap, but it's not a difficult trap to get out of. You just say, I don't like to talk about players from another team. Anyway.
You would have thought so. That's what media training is for.
You go, you see. Aberdeen have only won 1 trophy, haven't they, since 1990. It was this competition.
And it was, yes. It's been there's been sparse pickings for Aberdeen, a team who many think should be the third force in Scotland, and of course who at one point were the power in the land under Sir Alex Ferguson before his knighthood days, right enough. But yes, there's a real hunger amongst the support. They've brought a big support with them over to our right, and we'll hear them. The teams are, I gather, in the tunnel, so we're going to be hearing from them very shortly. But yes, it would be a major achievement for Jim Goodwin and his Aberdeen players if they could annex a trophy at last.
Thank you, Roddy. Roddy will keep us bang up to date. We've got commentary of Tottenham Arsenal in the North London derby from 4:30 on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. Let's make our first trip of the day to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. That's where we find correspondent John Murray and Clinton Morrison. Good afternoon, both.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Crossy.
John, great arena for what is always a great fixture.
Yes, and it's another one of those matches this season. They seem to be coming along almost not on a weekly basis. They seem to be coming along on a daily basis, where you sit there ahead of the match and think, goodness me, this is important for both teams. And it's a North London derby, so it speaks for itself. But I think after the events at Old Trafford yesterday, the fact that Arsenal can come here and put themselves 8 points clear at the top of the Premier League, but on the other side of that coin, Tottenham really need a result. They need a result. The fans here desperate for a result. If it comes against Arsenal, all the better. And Antonio Conte down there on the edge of the coaching area this afternoon will need a result as well. So lots to play for.
And that coaching area could be busy this afternoon, Clinton, knowing those two managers.
Yeah, definitely. Both managers like to get involved. They like to throw their arms in the air, and they're passionate though. They're both top managers, passionate about the game. Sometimes it can border over the top, because when I saw Arteta doing it against Newcastle, I thought he slightly went over the top. But I do like the passion. It just shows passion, because if you have managers that are just standing there, fans don't like that. But sometimes you can't cross that line, and sometimes these managers do it, but they're passionate about the game.
Antonio Conte has been sent off twice this season, two red cards, and of course Arsenal are currently facing charges, FA charges for their players surrounding referees.
In back-to-back fixtures as well. There's an odd one, Clinton, with the time in the season versus the time in the year, because obviously of the World Cup break. I mean, Arsenal still won't be halfway through their Premier League season, even after that game. But despite that, it is the kind of week you look at and wonder if it will be not season defining, but not a million miles away, because it's Spurs today and then Manchester United next Sunday.
Yeah, and that's a tough game. Obviously it's a North London derby, and we do make Arsenal favourites because their form they're in at the moment. Tottenham are not in brilliant form. They're relying on one man, and that's Harry Kane. We'll probably speak about him a lot later on in the show. But this is a huge week for Arsenal Football Club, because Man United, after that result against Man City, they don't think they're still in the title race and could cause an upset. And it's a big game. It's a big week for Arsenal, and Arteta would have drilled that into his players.
When you were coming up the stairs, Clinton, I came up in the lift, and there was an Arsenal fan in the lift who said to me, so this is one fan's opinion, he said, if we win today, we'll win the league.
Oh, wow. They still got to play Man City twice and Man United.
I said, hang on a minute.
Exactly.
It's potentially a really big day for Harry Kane as well. Funnily enough, John, I was just having a chat with Roddy about when players are asked questions and actually it's easier than you'd think to avoid them. Eric Dyer was asked about Harry Kane equaling and then potentially breaking Jimmy Greaves' scoring record at Spurs, and he said it would be even more special to do it against them. And then he paused and said, but we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, that's what will be said after the match if he scores it. But listen, I mean, he's going to get it at some point, obviously. One more goal to equal Jimmy Greaves' Tottenham goal scoring record, and obviously two to break it and make the record his own. But it would be, wouldn't it? I mean, he'd want to do it here. He'd want to do it on his home ground. And were Arsenal the opponents, then all the better.
John Clinton, thank you very much. Full commentary on the way from 4:30. Of course, we'll get the build-up underway at 4 o'clock once we're done at Stamford Bridge. Second half commentary of Chelsea versus Crystal Palace on the way. Chelsea's women's team have already drawn 1-1 with Arsenal this afternoon, and that means that they keep a 3-point lead at the top of the WSL table. Here's the Chelsea manager, Emma Hayes, with Robin Cowan.
Tremendous character from the team, particularly the finishers that came from the bench. I thought they made the difference for us in the second half. We changed shape after the goal. I thought that helped us. I thought we grew into the game without creating enough. First half, like I said, cagey, penalty, the difference at least in terms of them having anything that's clear-cut. But I think it's a wonderful point away from home in this stadium in a derby game.
In terms of the insight into how you make those little tweaks, those tactical changes, and also the changes in personnel, I mean, it must be very difficult. That's part of your job, to be decisive in those big moments.
Yeah, I'm annoyed at myself for not doing it a little sooner. I felt we started to lose a grip on the midfield, and Kim was growing in the game, and I was just about to change it when the penalty came. So whatever, changed it, went to a 3-5-2. I thought it really worked. And I will say this, it's not easy for a new player to come into the club, then go into a game in a packed stadium. I thought they came in and added so much value, and most importantly, we didn't panic. We kept playing to the end, and yes, it's a late equaliser, but listen, the game is 90 minutes for a reason. There's no point in talking about, deserving, this or that. Well played to Arsenal, but for us, I think it's a massive point game.
Chelsea manager Emma Hayes. So Chelsea top on 28 points, Arsenal second on 25, and Manchester United look like they're going to join them on 25 because they're beating Liverpool 3-0 at half-time in their game. All the highlights later after Match of the Day on the Women's Football Show. Second half commentary then from Stamford Bridge. Ball is on the centre spot. Pat Nevins with Ali Bruce Ball.
Thank you, Steve. Yeah, Mason Mount getting ready to go for Chelsea. They're all in blue shirts, blue shorts. Well, I say all in blue. The socks are white with blue hoops around them, and Crystal Palace pretty much all in white shirts, white shorts, but blue socks with the red tops, defending the goal in front of the Matthew Harding stand away to our right hand side. Pat Nevin's return with a half-drunk bucket of coffee. Did you see Mikhailo Mudryk make his appearance, Pat, on the Stamford Bridge pitch at half time?
Yeah, there's a lot of whispering up here whether he's on there, he's been introduced, but is the deal officially over the line?
Oh, I see.
But certainly it would be a wee bit embarrassing.
You'd hope so.
if he didn't get it in the end. But no, he's a player that I've seen a bit of, and I have to say he's a very, very, very special one. They were waiting for the thing they were waiting for was the medical to go through.
Yeah.
Everyone was talking about that. But hopefully the medicals have all come through, and in that case the contract will be ratified.
I think we can tick that box. Confirmed. He's going to wear the number 15 for Chelsea, and notable as well that he came out wrapped in the Ukrainian flag. If you don't know him, don't recognise him, sort of floppy blonde hair, centre parting, few tattoos around the neck and arms, but Pat's watched him play a fair bit of football, and you like him, don't you, Pat?
He's a player. He's absolutely a player. You never know when Premier League, it's hard to come and make a real big effect on it. I mean, Ziyech, before he came, the expectation was incredibly high with the ability he's got, but I'm looking at Mudryk, and I said just before the game, had he signed for Arsenal, he's an absolute stick-on, because the style of Arsenal's play, he would be brilliant, without a shadow of a doubt. It's whether he actually gets the opportunities to get the ball in the right areas for Chelsea when he finally gets that blue kit on.
Trevor Chalobah's okay, he's back on his feet. So second half underway here, Chelsea 0, Crystal Palace 0. Ayew's tackled, so that'll be a throw-in for, wait and see. Crystal Palace left-hand side attacking position. Newcastle Fulham at St James's Park also kicked off at 2 this afternoon. Here's Lee Blakeman.
We've just restarted here. Newcastle with a chance, edge of the area, blazed over the crossbar by Longstaff. Now, Steve Crossman said at the break that he saw Guimaraes leave the pitch in tears. He picked up a knock earlier in the half, continued for some time, but he's not re-emerged for the second half. Alan Saint-Maximin on in his place. A minute gone in this second period, and it's Newcastle 0, Fulham 0.
Good to see Alan Saint-Maximin back in action, but Bruno Guimaraes obviously a massive part of what Newcastle have been doing this season. Joachim Andersen as well here for Crystal Palace, had to leave in the first half. Hakim Ziyech has now taken a whack on the leg. He's gone down and won a free kick for Chelsea. So second half yet to really get going. No goals in either game. Commentary on Newcastle Fulham over on Sports Extra. Kepa in goal for Chelsea. Chalobah, Badiashile, Thiago Silva and Lewis Hall, with Jorginho sitting at the base of the Chelsea midfield. Chukwuemeka, Conor Gallagher, Mason Mount and Hakim Ziyech in support of Kai Havertz through the middle. And Crystal Palace have Nathaniel Klein and Cheick Doucouré, both on yellow cards. They've got Vicente Guaita in goal, as Kepa's got the ball at his feet here and needs to be careful because Zaha is closing in. Very carefully plays it to the right to Chalobah. Chalobah's given the ball away, and Schlupp plays it back to Tompkins. So Tompkins now on for Joachim Andersen alongside Guéhi. Klein and Mitchell, the two fullbacks. Elise, Doucouré, Eze, Schlupp, Jordan Ayew and Wilfried Zaha playing as the lone striker, the number 9, but wearing the number 11. Here's Chukwuemeka down the left to Lewis Hall, trying to get it back to Chukwuemeka. Sliding challenge on him by Doucouré. Doucouré wins it, picks himself up, plays it to Elise. Poor challenge on Elise there by Jorginho. That is a yellow card. Jorginho can complain all he likes, but Elise had beaten him there and he was away, Pat.
Every day of the week, that's a yellow card. And it was just pace-wise. He knew he'd lunged in slightly, he'd sold himself completely. And if you do that and the player's away with the ball, it just looks really bad. And referee, once again, gets it right. I think he's got all the yellow cards right today.
Yep. So Chelsea 0, Palace 0. Rangers Aberdeen, by the way, underway at Hampden Park. We heard from Roddy Forsyth a little earlier. That is a Scottish League Cup semi-final. Pitch wasn't looking great yesterday, Roddy said, but they're on it again this afternoon. So we'll stay in touch with that one. The winners will play Celtic in the final. Kilmarnock ran them close yesterday, but Celtic got the job done. A free kick taken by Palace, headed away by Badiashile, the 21-year-old for Chelsea. Ball wide with Elise, does well to thread one through to Schlupp in central midfield. Played back to Guéhi. Wide to Tyreek Mitchell. Couple of touches from him. Ziyech battling for the ball. Conor Gallagher makes a challenge. Ziyech then plays it down the line to Gallagher, just beyond him. Gallagher challenges Schlupp. Guéhi steps in against his former club. Knocked over by Havertz. Free kick for Crystal Palace. Why don't we get a quick update then from events at Hampden Park? Roddy Forsyth.
Yes, indeed. 6 minutes gone here. Scoreless between Rangers and Aberdeen. The pitch cutting up as we expected that it might. Rangers should have been ahead, could have been ahead. A corner kick from Barisic, lofted on by Tavernier. Fashion Sakala with a header off the base of the post. Aberdeen survived that one, still scoreless.
Lovely as always to have Roddy Forsyth and Pat Nevin on air together. Eberechi Eze ready to take the free kick here for Crystal Palace. Arsenal 1, Chelsea 1 in the WSL earlier on today as Eze curls that into the Chelsea box. Havertz heads it away. Mitchell side foots the ball to his right. Chelsea try and come on the break, but Mount can't find Ziyech, and the ball is back with Guaita.
Well, just a wee moment there, Ziyech was running for the ball, and I'm sure you thought what I thought. Yeah, go for that. And watching him play for Morocco, he's lightning. He goes for it, and you think, I can remember in the last game we did, I said, look, who is that guy? Is he related to Hakim Ziyech? Because he's showing immense pace and liveliness. And that was a classic example of him not doing it for Chelsea.
Zaha using a trick to try and beat Chalobah. Digs his left foot under the ball. High lofted cross right through the Chelsea penalty area. Chukwuemeka plays it back to Hall. Hall clears up the left-hand side. Doucouré in for Palace, knocks it out for a throw-in to Crystal Palace on the left. So 6 minutes gone in the second half. Chelsea 0, Palace 0, Newcastle 0, Fulham 0.
I think what Palace will be excited about is the fact that in quite a number of games recently, when Chelsea have actually played quite well in the first half, I mean the Manchester City game here was a case in point. But then when they didn't get the goal, the confidence began to fall away, and similar against Fulham as well. But then again, they were down to 10 men in that one, and I think that's what Palace will be hoping will happen here.
Oh, look at Thiago Silva, block-busting run through the middle. Eze knocks him over. Thiago Silva's hurt, another yellow card, and again I think the right decision. Eberechi Eze goes into the referee's notebook, and Chelsea will have the free kick in the centre circle.
I mean, fantastic play by Thiago Silva. I mean, he's, in a way, sometimes you think he actually looks the most likely to score for Chelsea, because Chelsea are putting in decent corners. He's always in there and he stays up, and I have no idea how he keeps on doing it to that age.
38 years old, Thiago Silva, the brilliant Brazilian. Here's Ziyech, plays back to Chalobah, ball across the Crystal Palace half. Badiashile takes no risks on the head, nods it back to Thiago Silva. 0-0, both teams struggling for goals at the moment. Palace all season really, 17 goals in 17 Premier League games. Chelsea just 6 in their last 9 Premier League games. Over that span of time, those games, that is fewer than anyone in the entire division, which you wouldn't normally say about Chelsea. Badiashile, nice work on the ball, finds Ziyech on the right, quickly onto Conor Gallagher, gets that cross in to the far post, dealt with by Klein, headed away to the edge of the box. Chukwuemeka nods it sideways to Hall. Hall cuts infield. Mount sees Chukwuemeka making a run on the left, just inside the penalty area, wide on the left, back to Hall. Hall's first touch, just a little heavy, ball gets away from him, and out it goes for a throw into Crystal Palace in their right back position.
If there was a complaint about Lewis Hall, it would be that, his first touch sometimes isn't great, there's question marks over his defending, but these are things he can learn, these are things he can improve on. All the positive sides to his game are pretty special. His overlap, he's getting into great positions. He was lucky not to score for Chelsea at the end of that first half there, and playing over there on that left-hand side with Chukwuemeka, who's maybe not had as great a game, but it's a very, very young left-hand side for Chelsea, and I'm sure they'll improve.
First start of any sort for Chukwuemeka, who signed from Aston Villa in the summer, the 19-year-old. Lewis Hall just 18 years old, making his way in this Chelsea first team. Kepa, Chelsea's goalkeeper, away to our left, just plays the ball out. He's dressed up like a sort of orange highlighter pen this afternoon, dazzling bright orange inside his penalty area. Conor Gallagher working hard for Chelsea down the right. Couple of challenges on him, and eventually the ball goes out for a Chelsea throw. So Tottenham-Arsenal in full at 4:30. And then your football commentaries coming next week on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. FA Cup replays third round. Tuesday night, Wolves-Liverpool, winners of that one away to Brighton. Wednesday, Leeds-Cardiff. Chelsea might have given this away. Here's Elise battling with Badiashile. Elise wins that battle. Run made by Zaha on his right-hand side. Shoots! And palmed away by Kepa at the near post. Kepa got his angles right. It was hit hard, but straight at him.
I think Conor Gallagher has to go over there and apologise to Badiashile. Terrible ball he gave him there. One and none led to the opportunity there. Didn't look where he was playing it, Conor Gallagher, and it was a terrible ball to play back to your centre back. Chelsea got away with it, but They can't do that too often against the quality of players. If you've got Elise and Zaha up there, you can't give them too many chances. They're real quality in the final third.
Crystal Palace had taken the throw. Elise was trying to win a corner. Chukwuemeka tackled him. The last touch came off Elise, so that's a goal kick for Chelsea.
Do you know what Chelsea would do just now to have an Aubameyang on form with the right attitude? They could bring him on and maybe take Havertz a little bit further back to attack from deep.
Chukwuemeka plays it to the left to Havertz. Aubameyang is on that Chelsea bench. Here's Havertz. Cross back towards the penalty spot, headed away by Gahey for Crystal Palace. Still 0-0, Lewis Hall. One touch, then the cross comes in. Havertz up, deflected header across the face of the Palace goal. Cleared away by Tyreek Mitchell. Manchester United's women cruising now at home against Liverpool in the WSL. Coverage of the game on BBC One. They're leading by 3-0. Everton's women have beaten Reading 3-2. Leicester 0, Brighton 0 is the latest scoreline. Here's Hall.
There was just a moment there, the ball went into Havertz. He was in the box on his own. He was marked by 3 players, and that's why you would want Havertz to be, one of the 2 players coming from a slightly deeper area, and Aubameyang and someone up front. And that's a real problem for Chelsea just now. They're not really getting in that many good opportunities because there's not enough players in the box. It's as simple as that.
In terms of that Chelsea bench, Kovacic, Aubameyang, Loftus-Cheek on his way back from injury, Koulibaly left out of the side today, new striker David Datro, Fofana the Ivorian, Azpilicueta, Cucurella we've mentioned today, and the young defender Bashir Humphreys. Ziyech uses his left thigh to find Gallagher, good ball to Havertz, into the box, drives the shot, again, tight angle, comfortable save for Guaita at his near post.
Yeah, it'd have to be extra special to score from there. Keeper's got his angles all right, he's got plenty of power in it, but again, that is the problem. There's one player playing on point up front. They're trying their best, the likes of Gallagher and the likes of Mount are trying to get in there to help him, but they never move, do they? That back line, Patrick Vieira's got them very, very well drilled.
Tonkin's clearance, blocked by Mason Mount, he chases it through into the box. Guaita is there, right on the right-hand corner of his box by the byline, grabs the ball on the bounce safely for Crystal Palace. 12 minutes gone second half. Nathaniel Klein is just picking himself up, having taken a tumble and recovering from the after effects of that. Chelsea 0, Palace 0. In terms of those out injured for Chelsea at the moment, goalkeeper Edouard Mendy, fullbacks Reece James, Ben Chilwell, Wesley Fofana, who's barely played for the club, and N'Golo Conte has been missing for ages. Zakaria missing at the moment, Sterling, Pulisic, Broja, and of course Joao Felix, recently signed on loan from Atletico Madrid, having got sent off on his Premier League debut on Thursday night.
Yeah, but apart from that, they're at full strength.
Throw in Chelsea, Chalobah to Jorginho. Lovely control from Badiashile, pass thumped back towards him inside his own half.
Well, at least the fans have warmed up a little bit.
I was just going to say that, it's suddenly got noisy, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think the Chelsea fans in particular, you expect that for the Palace fans. Anyone who knows Palace fans knows what they do. They are absolutely fantastic home and away. But the Chelsea fans, they know their team needs them, and there's no point in being quiet just now. They need to be lifted.
Balls with Lewis Hall on the left, inside the Palace half, plays it back into the midfield to Conor Gallagher, chased by a couple of Palace players including Zaha. Gallagher evades them. Thiago Silva now involved, plays it forward to Badiashile. Crystal Palace just back off and they allow Badiashile across the halfway line. Jorginho takes up the running, low pass to his left to Hall. Hall tries to thread one through to Mount. Chukwuemeka looking to win a 50-50. Last touch came off a Chelsea player, so that's going to be a Palace throw midway inside their own half on the right. How is this deadlock going to be broken, we wonder? Still Newcastle 0, Fulham 0 as well at St James's Park.
Can we talk about how it's going to be broken? It doesn't look like it's going to be broken, does it, at the moment? It just needs one piece of brilliance by one player, and that both sides have got that. Certainly there's plenty of them in the Palace side, but they aren't getting enough of the ball in the final third either.
Chalobah plays back to Kepa. Wilfred Zaha comes running towards him. Kepa's low ball out to the right finds Chalobah. He's going to try and run past Ayew. Ayew stretches an arm out to block him. The referee tried to play the advantage, couldn't. Chelsea do get the free kick. Jorginho thinks about going quickly and then decides against it. Any danger of a breakthrough at St James's Park, Lee Blakeman?
Doesn't look like it, Ali, at the moment. Really scrappy game this. That said, Newcastle on the attack, still 0-0. Newcastle have just gone close from a Trippier corner. As Trippier sends it across here, Leno will take it at the back post. From that Trippier corner, Wilson rose highest, headed it wide. Down the other end, Pope's just clawed away a Pereira cross, ticking towards the hour mark. Still 0-0 Newcastle and Fulham.
Saving all the goals for the North London derby, it seems. 4:30 on 5 Live. Tottenham against Arsenal in the company of John Murray and Clinton Morrison. Gallagher chases a ball down the right, spins awkwardly for Schlupp. Gallagher falls over inside the Palace area. Schlupp then takes a tumble, and eventually it's given as a goal kick to the visitors.
Gallagher's looking for a penalty kick there, and I'm sure he just actually slipped. I'm pretty sure he did. He's just slipped. What was interesting is Schlupp, he didn't look worried or upset. He just went, yeah, no chance. He just walked away. Do you know what, I mean, if I was Potter just now, what I would do is I would bring Havertz back, maybe take Chukwuemeka off, bring on Aubameyang. Look, he might not be absolutely at his best at the moment, but he plays on point and gives Havertz a chance to come from a deeper area, and at least it gives something to aim for.
Ball down the left from Eze for Ayew. Sliding challenge by Chalobah. Throw in for Crystal Palace. That's in front of their healthy travelling support in that shed end away to our left. So big roar from them. Throw in for Crystal Palace on the left. Just after Pat has mentioned that, actually, I've just seen Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang called back to the bench. So
that's one part of the three.
Let's wait and see what happens. Mitchell's throw down the left to Ayew. Chelsea 0, Palace 0. Mitchell tackled by Gallagher. Another throw in for Crystal Palace on the left. Mitchell throws it down the line to Ayew. Chalobah breathing down his neck. Ziyech trying to help out for Chelsea. Ayew turns, takes it to the byline. Very difficult for the assistant referee to see who got the final touch, but Peter Banks was on the spot and says that is a goal kick for Chelsea. Here we go, Pat.
Right,
so
is it going to be Chukwuemeka?
Aubameyang on tick.
Yeah. Well, there's quite a lot to ask to get all three right.
Oh, I tell you what, Chukwuemeka off tick.
Right. And I expect Aubameyang to go up front and Havertz to go back roughly where Chukwuemeka was.
Okay, let's watch there. We're waiting for the third part of the trilogy to be successful. Yeah, exactly. He's just got the point for Graham Potter. Back you go, Kai Havertz. Pat on the back for Pat Nevin. Very well done.
3 out of 3.
That little break in New Zealand has done you the world of good.
Exactly.
Pat, since you heard him commentating during the World Cup in Qatar, has been on a holiday on the other side of the world down in New Zealand. I think you told me, Pat, you were swimming with dolphins.
Having wild dolphins. Wow.
Amazing. Here's Lewis Hall on the left for Chelsea. So Aubameyang is on, having been left on the bench on Thursday night, not used as a substitute, and obviously came on against Manchester City in the Premier League and was taken off again barely an hour later. Throw in one by Crystal Palace on the left. I hear Newcastle have gone close. Lee Blakeman.
They have. They've just won a free kick 22 yards out. Foul by Ream on Joel Linton. Free kick taken by Cher. Round the wall, hard and low. Came back off the post and the rebound went wide. Still 0-0.
Match of the day 2 tonight. BBC 1 10:30. The way it's going so far, you're going to have some intriguing football to watch with no goals as yet. Havertz to Aubameyang. Aubameyang's first touch. Tackled by Tompkins. The ball runs to Jorginho. Just lobs a pass to his left. Here's Hall. Hall pokes one down the inside left channel. Mounts cross blocked. Corner for Chelsea.
Already looks better. Because you've got Havertz going in there. He's linking up the play much better. When the ball goes out wide, you've got Aubameyang and Havertz going attacking it in that area. You can see, it makes so much sense. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to absolutely work and lead to a goal, but it was the most intelligent thing to do.
One Premier League goal for Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang for Chelsea this season. Came at Selhurst Park against Crystal Palace. Ziyech's ball in, headed from Havertz, and Chelsea have the lead. Short corner routine, works a treat for Chelsea. Wonderful ball in. Havertz times the run and the lead, powers the header past Guaita. It's Chelsea 1, Crystal Palace 0. That is going to make Graham Potter feel a lot better.
You know, when you've got a plan and it works absolutely perfectly seconds after you make it. But we mentioned earlier on about the fact that Havertz, he's all right up front, but that's not his position. He's someone who goes in from slightly deeper. He's someone else dragging players away from him, and he will find space, and he found it brilliantly there. His header, he could have had one in the first half. This one, second half, because the play's in front of him, heads it down, and it's bordering on easy for him.
Ziyech's cross in from the left-hand side. It cleared the head of Jeffrey Schlupp. Havertz had the height advantage against Cheick Doucouré, who was in a stationary position, and Havertz has done the business for Chelsea. 5th goal of the season for him. Chelsea lead Crystal Palace by 1-0. What's going on at Hampden Park? Scottish League Cup semi-final. Rangers Aberdeen, Roddy Forsyth.
Midway through the first half, it's still scoreless between these sides, although Rangers hit the post through Sakala, and then Bojan Miovski had the ball in the Rangers net for Aberdeen, but it was disallowed after a VAR check, and incidentally Morelos hasn't had a sniff against Anthony Stewart. Goalless.
Thank you, Roddy. So you will see at least one goal on Match of the Day 2 tonight. A good one as well, worked by Chelsea. Silva thumps the ball forward with his right foot all the way through to Vicente Guaita, and Stamford Bridge is alive with noise.
Yeah, and I think that'll lift Palace as well, oddly enough. You know, they know they need to come out a little bit now. They need to try a little bit harder to get those players that we know are capable of doing exciting things in the last half. They need to get them on the ball. Not had enough of that yet. They seem to be comfortable just playing in the break. They've got another break now.
Ball down the channel for Zaha. Got lucky there. It bounced off Chalabar's back. Zaha half tackled. He asked Doucouré to leave it for him. Zaha plays it to his right and finds Elise. Klein on the overlap on the right. Elise delays the release of the pass. Gets it back from Klein. Elise inside right channel, about 25 yards from goal. Klein involved again. Doucouré now is forced away from goal. Back towards James Tompkins on the halfway line for Crystal Palace, who have to come a little more out and at Chelsea, now trailing by 1-0. Having had those recent Premier League defeats, Fulham at home they lost 3-0 Boxing Day. Tottenham they lost 4-0 at home. Good run by Eze, trying to flick it into Zaha inside the penalty area. Chalabar clears with his left foot. Good response by Crystal Palace, and they're going to make a double change as well, and 2 strikers coming on, Mateta and Edouard.
Yeah, there's no point in hanging back at all just now. But again, mentioned earlier on, it is a very young back line for Chelsea.
Yeah.
You've got to ask them a few more questions than they've been asked so far.
Guehi is fouled. Free kick for Crystal Palace. Ziyech, just in case it wasn't going to be a free kick, tried to take advantage and drive the ball in from 40 yards out.
I think that was undeliberate there. There was a little bit of a delayed reaction. Guehi didn't go down, but at least it gives Palace a little bit of a chance to take. I mean, Zaha's been playing up through the middle. He's not really had a huge effect in the game, has he? So maybe getting him wide, getting him on the ball, running towards one of the 2 full-backs that Chelsea have got, who are A, young, and B, in the case of Chalobah, not natural full-backs.
Chelsea do have a very good record against Crystal Palace, something I meant to mention at the start of the commentary. They've won their last 11 games against them in all competitions. Not the kind of thing, actually, as Graham Potter, you necessarily want to hear. A bit like the game against Fulham on Thursday night, where Chelsea have had a very excellent run against them. Always just heaps the pressure on a little bit more and ups the expectation. Tyreek Mitchell's cross, Kepa's off his line and grabs it on the half volley. Quickly to St James's Park, Lee Blakeman.
VAR check for a penalty. Foul allegedly by Trippier on Decordova-Reid just seconds after Byrne had pulled down Pereira, and the referee Rob Jones here has pointed to the penalty spot. He was called over to the monitor to check it for himself. Newcastle players not happy, Longstaff especially, right in the referee's face at the moment. Come back to me, because Fulham have a penalty at St James's.
Yeah, OK, Lee, keep talking to us and shout whenever you need it. Chelsea at the moment have just won a throw-in on the right-hand side. So drama at St James's Park. Chelsea leading Crystal Palace by 1-0 here. Fulham have a penalty given via VAR at St James's Park. And Crystal Palace actually here are going to make a triple change. So Lee, if you're ready, I'll hand it back to you and we'll keep an eye on the substitutions here.
It's going to take a while here, Ali, because the protests are quite strong. Let's just say that. Both managers getting involved on this near side. Eddie Howe having a word with 4th official Graham Scott. Pereira standing on the penalty spot at the moment. I think this is going to be a good couple of minutes until this penalty gets taken. But don't worry, Ellie, I will shout as loud as possible.
Good man. Lee Blakeman at St James's Park. Commentary over on Radio 5 Sports Extra. So penalty to come at St James's Park. Newcastle 0, Fulham 0. Edouard, Mateta and Will Hughes on, and Chelsea have a free kick. Palace trying to come on the counter, a little over exuberant in the challenge. Mason Mount has gone down. Eze was one of the players to come off. Pat, were you able to keep up with the
yeah, Ayew, Mateta, Eze, Edouard, and Schlupp was the other one who came off for Hughes.
Thank you very much. Schlupp, Ayew and Eze off. Just over 20 minutes to play. Chelsea 1, Palace 0. Don't worry, you're not going to miss the penalty up at Newcastle when Lee is ready to go, when Mitrovic, I presume, is ready to go, and the referee has cleared the penalty area. Then we will be right there. Oh, Gallagher, that was a strong challenge on Gallagher. Advantage played. Gallagher's writhing around in pain inside the Crystal Palace half. Double step over from Ziyech. Chelsea looking for a second goal here, possibly to try and close out this game. Ziyech, nice turn away from Tyrick Mitchell, comes thundering back at him. Ziyech's cross in, headed away by Guéhi. And now we'll go to St James's Park. Here's Lee Blakeman.
And Mitrovic buries the penalty. Newcastle continue to complain. Mitrovic back in the side against his former club. Is this going to stand now? Because there are more protests. And it's been disallowed. The penalty's been disallowed.
For Chelsea, that's saved by Guaita at close range. Lee, back to you.
Ali, I've no idea what this is being disallowed for. Mitrovic has stepped up. Has he been accused of touching the ball twice? I'm just looking at Steve Stone behind me here. He's kicked it onto his standing foot, and that is why this penalty for Mitrovic is not going to stand. This whole episode has been going on for about 5 or 6 minutes, and this is going to be a Newcastle free kick. Mitrovic looks to the skies. He thought he'd broken the deadlock against his former club. I'm looking at Steve Stone behind me, who's on Sports Extra. He's just shaking his head. It's carnage. Mitrovic scored it. It's been disallowed. Kicked it onto his standing foot. Still the complaints continue, but the game's restarted and it's 0-0.
Well, match of the day 2, BBC One at 10:30 is going to be a very interesting watch this evening, and we've still got the North London derby to come. Pat, you were nodding your head there.
Yeah, I mean, some people don't know that's a rule. You're not allowed to kick the ball twice. It's quite simple.
Chelsea 1, Palace 0. So Fulham thought they had the lead, but Mitrovic kicking the ball twice accidentally with the penalty. It remains 0-0. Rangers 0, Aberdeen 0 in the Scottish League Cup semi-final. Back underway here. Aubameyang had a chance while all that drama was going on. Blocked by Guaita, and then there was a foul given against Aubameyang for the follow-through on Guaita, which was just his momentum and totally accidental. Actually, in the build-up to that, Conor Gallagher was heavily tackled, and it was Cheick Doucouré who is on a yellow card. I think he could easily have got another yellow card for that.
Yeah, it's one of those. I don't think it was viciously deliberate, but it was reckless, and it was very lucky.
Havertz too strong for Will Hughes, but no, referee says no, that's an unfair challenge, and that'll be a free kick to Crystal Palace. Right, where are we going next? We are going to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium to get the team news ahead of the North London derby from John Murray.
And Kulusevski returns to the team for the derby after 2 matches out. Richarlison and Bissouma are also on the way back for Spurs, both substitutes. Both teams make 7 changes from their FA Cup teams. Tottenham 3 from their last league side. Kulusevski, Sarr and Sessegnon start instead of Gil, Skip and Perisic, and Saka is fit for Arsenal as they name the same team that started against Newcastle.
Mouth-watering clash, cannot wait to listen in the car on the way home. John Murray alongside Clinton Morrison. After this one, we'll be building up to that one. Commentary from 4:30, and then you can have your say on 6:06 tonight after that second commentary. And still Newcastle 0, Fulham 0. Commentary of that one over on Sports Extra. Ball's given away by Lewis Hall. Trip there, no trip, that is a dive. It's Odsonne Edouard who'd done a little trick, thought he'd got past the defender, then took a tumble. Chelsea now on the counter-attack. Mason Mount is chasing the ball through. Guaita to the edge of the box, clears with his right foot.
The referee must be tempted to get his card out there. Chelsea have taken it very, very quickly.
Throw-in taken quickly on the left. Action everywhere you look at the moment.
Edouard, he doesn't look absolutely his best nick, best shape I've ever seen him in.
No, that's true, Pat, and you will have seen plenty of him in his former days at Celtic. Gallagher playing a 1-2 with Havertz. This game's still in the balance. Chelsea 1, Crystal Palace 0. We've got just over 15 minutes to play, and I can tell you that England have beaten Jamaica in the netball decider, 63 points to 59. England win the series 2-1. Here's Lewis Hall. Oh, that's a great ball in. Aubameyang's first touch, and then the shot is blocked by Guéhi. It wouldn't quite come down in time. Fabulous ball to Aubameyang, and actually Lewis Hall has now sat down, and he's got a slight issue, maybe cramp.
Yeah, definitely cramp. Just the way he's grabbing hold of his foot there. But that ball, you're absolutely right. you know, it was the least expected ball of them all, but it was the right ball there. Played on a half volley, zipped it into Aubameyang. Look, it's a hard one to take. Aubameyang is very best in form and confident. He can bury that, and it's a lovely piece of play by Lewis Hall there, but he stayed down, and that would be a big miss to Chelsea. You know, if he went off just now. They've got Cucurella who'll come on.
Yeah.
Who'll get a lovely round of applause from those Crystal Palace fans.
So just over 15 minutes to play. Mikhailo Mudryk, the new signing in the stands, just feeling the chill. Scarf wrapped round his neck and half of it over his nose and mouth as well. Lewis Hall down receiving treatment. Chelsea leading Crystal Palace by 1-0. One win in the last 9 Premier League games for Chelsea. So absolutely vital for them to try and grab the 3 points. Koulibaly is waiting to come on, and while we wait for action to resume, let's check in again at Hampden Park, ready for sight.
Yes, we're past the half hour, still scoreless here between Rangers and Aberdeen in the League Cup semi-final. Remember, Sakala hit the base of the post for Rangers, and Bojan Miovski had one knocked off for a VAR check for offside. Morales just got his first sight of goal there, and from the edge of the box he pulled it just wide. So that's why it's Rangers 0, Aberdeen 0 after 32.
And what about events at St James's Park? Lee Blakeman.
0-0, but since that penalty drama, the atmosphere has gone up a few notches. Newcastle have brought on Alexander Isak in place of Joe Willock. We have got, Ali, 15 minutes to play. Deadlock still to be broken between Newcastle and Fulham.
Commentary on Sports Extra. NFL tonight, by the way, on Sports Extra. Wild card weekend. Our commentary game is the New York Giants at the Minnesota Vikings. Another short corner routine. Back to Ziyech, crossing this time not as good as the one that led to the goal. Miscue volley from Mason Mount. Nearly turned into a brilliant pass for Jorginho. It would have been an absolute fluke, and it gets away from him anyway and goes behind for a goal kick. So Koulibaly is coming on for Chelsea. Pat Nevin.
Yeah, I wonder if he'll come on for... Is it going to be a better shield? It's coming off? No, maybe not. It's because Lewis Hall. It's going to come off because of that, probably that issue he's had. And he's actually getting a standing ovation. Now, Chelsea fans love their young players, the ones that come through. That's the case. But it's not just that. He's actually been exceptional today. I think they're watching a player coming through here that they think, wait a minute, if you get Reece James one side, and him over the next few years the other side, that could be sorted out for a decade, that whole area.
18 years old, a third consecutive start for Chelsea, a very impressive performance. He is replaced by Kalidou Koulibaly. 13 minutes to play, and Chelsea still lead through the Kai Havertz second half header, the goal coming in the 65th minute.
And Koulibaly would appear to be going to left fullback. That's not something I expected to see, I'll be honest with you.
Gallagher tries to win a flick on for Chelsea. The ball's up in the air on the halfway line. Doucouré stretching for Palace. Jorginho runs back into his own half, gets his body in the way. Doucouré tackles him. Free kick given to Chelsea. Crystal Palace extremely frustrated by that decision.
Yeah, they're also probably frustrated by the fact that they've taken Eze off, and Eze's thinking, if I was out wide there against Koulibaly, dream scenario for him,
Yeah, Mateta and Edouard.
And by the way, here's another question for you.
Yeah.
If you're a left fullback and you've just been bought for 60 million quid and there's 2 fullbacks in front of you and you still can't get on now,
that's a really
and
good
Koulibaly comes on now, I don't know how you feel if you're Cucurella just now.
Yeah, that's right. Having played under Graham Potter at Brighton as well. 12 minutes gone. 12 minutes to go, I beg your pardon. Chelsea 1, Crystal Palace 0. Will Hughes trying to win a 50-50 in midfield, up against Jorginho. Eventually he's outnumbered. Conor Gallagher plays it back to Thiago Silva. Forward here to Ziyech. Mazy dribble, goes down. Chalobah could have continued, but actually throws his arm out and says that's a foul on Ziyech, which it was. The referee was trying to play the advantage. Patrick Vieira, I think, is starting to lose his rag a little here, because he's made his way down the touchline, well away from his technical area. He feels decisions going against his team.
Well, he's wrong there, because Doucouré's taken the player out utterly off the ball. And why he's doing that at that moment, when you're on a yellow card already, that was very, very poor play by Doucouré.
Free kick for Chelsea, which Hakim Ziyech gets ready to take, and we are moving towards the last 10 minutes of our 2 o'clock kickoffs this afternoon. Newcastle 0, Fulham 0, with the Mitrovic bizarre missed penalty there. Chelsea 1, Palace 0 here, and Patrick Vieira chuntering away, gets a yellow card, dismissively waved in his direction by the referee Peter Banks. It's the 4th official, Darren Bond, who's eventually managed to cajole and encourage Patrick Vieira back towards the halfway line. Vieira continues his complaints. Chelsea take the free kick. Ziyech might fancy this. Hits it with his left foot. Low one, it's blocked. Comes back to Jorginho. Lovely pass, finds Mount on the right. Mount's cross in. Oh, Havertz heads wide. Now the cross came at real pace. It's a glancing header. He gets anything more on that, and it's straight into an empty net.
He needs to go for it. But Aubameyang's right behind him for the easiest of tap-ins. We're going to go and see it for another angle here. Aubameyang's waiting behind there. Oh, and he cannot believe that he's not getting a chance to put that in there, Aubameyang. Oh, he's not getting any luck just now, is he? That would have ended the game, I'm sure.
Coming back from an offside position there, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, but play continues because Crystal Palace have the ball, not with the chance, I beg your pardon, with the move that we're just seeing in front of us. So Tottenham Arsenal on the way, full commentary from 4:30 here on 5 Live. Crystal Palace now attacking down the right. Elise looking for the run here of Edouard. Edouard trying to get that cut back towards Zaha. Blocked at the near post. Great defending again from Thiago Silva. It's out for a throw to Palace on the right.
And just doesn't that sum up what football's like? The game could have been finished there. Havertz would have finished it or left it at all. But as soon as that happens, Crystal Palace almost got the other end, get a goal. And again, looking at Chelsea's season they've had this season, there is not one Chelsea fan inside this stadium who is comfortable right now.
Throw-in from Palace, trying to find Edouard on the corner of the Chelsea penalty area. Here's your new Chelsea left-back, Kalidou Koulibaly. Measured pass to Havertz. Havertz running back towards his own goal, needs to be careful. Plays a pass into no man's land and gives the ball away. Here's Guéhi. Guéhi's 40 yards out in a central position. Chip pass to his right, too much on it beyond Elise. He was trying to see whether that was coming over his left shoulder, right shoulder, but couldn't do anything with it. And behind it goes for the goal kick. Chelsea 1, Palace 0.
It's interesting though, because Palace have got a little bit of a lift from that. They let off the hook. They could have been out of the game there. And just for a moment there, watching Conor Gallagher, he's turned around and he's given Aubameyang a complete mouthful, as if to say, we need you to run, mate. We need you to go and stretch that team there. The ball was played out. Havertz tried to find him. He didn't have anyone to search for, and that's why they get put under pressure again.
Chelsea win today takes them to 28 points, which would put them level on points with Liverpool, behind them on goal difference, a point behind Brentford and 2 behind Brighton. They actually play Liverpool at Anfield next Saturday lunchtime. Into the last 10 minutes of the game, still Newcastle 0, Fulham 0 at St James's Park. And there's a bad challenge in midfield. It's Will Hughes who came flying in on Conor Gallagher. Will Hughes goes over to apologise.
Well, that's minimum yellow.
Oh, it's a yellow.
Minimum yellow.
It's a yellow. I just wondered, Pat, whether that was going to be the straight red card. We'll have another look here.
Oh. It's so deliberate. Because it's a kick and a trip, as opposed to, studs through trying to break a leg or something like that. I get why the referee's only going yellow, but that's a really, really silly tackle, that.
Conor Gallagher is rubbing his leg. Will Hughes has apologised. He's got the yellow card. Rory Forsyth at Hampden Park.
6 minutes left to play in the first half. It's still scoreless here. Rangers have come a little closer now that Brendan Morelos has wakened his ideas up. Got a header in. The goalkeeper, Keller Roos, in the Aberdeen goal, dropped the ball on the line. Morelos claimed it was over, but the technology showed that it clearly wasn't. Rangers, though, beginning to develop again towards half-time. Still scoreless, though.
WSL latest, Manchester United's women 5, Liverpool 0. Coverage of that over on BBC 1. Still Leicester 0, Brighton 0 in the WSL. Will Hughes tries to clear the ball for Palace, headed forward by Jorginho, chested down by the goal scorer Havertz. It gets away from him, up towards Mateta, who's barely had a touch for Palace since coming on. Does well though, holds it up, plays it back to Elise, plays it to Michael Klein. Cynical from Conor Gallagher, who just kicked Klein as he ran away from him. That's a yellow card for Conor Gallagher. It's getting a bit feisty now out there.
And once again, referees get every single one of them right. And to be honest, it's not been that difficult, to be fair. But Gallagher knows what he's doing there. He doesn't want to do the hard yards chasing back. And there's a lot of players on yellow cards there, and the referee, he just needs to see one making a slight little mistime now, and you could be down to 10 men.
Yeah. Well, Crystal Palace, of course, had 2 send-off against Fulham on Boxing Day. Tyreek Mitchell only just back from the suspension. James Tompkins went off for 2 yellows in that game. Lots of yellows dished out in this one. 6 minutes to play. Chelsea still leading 1-0. Free kick up to the edge of the Chelsea area. Badiashile heads it away. Here's Cheick Doucouré for Palace. Ball breaks loose and Chelsea clear. Goal at Hampden Park. Roddy.
Goal for Aberdeen, and Rangers were caught out very badly. They were trying to play Duk offside. He was offside, but while they stopped, Björn Miofsky ran from inside his own half brought the ball behind the Rangers defence, ran 30 yards and placed it past Alan McGregor. Rangers are trailing Aberdeen by a goal to nil. 4 minutes to play till half-time.
Ball headed forward by Mason Mount for Chelsea into the Crystal Palace half. Time is running out for the visitors here. They do not have a good record at Stamford Bridge. 20 visits in top-flight football in their history. They've only won twice. It looks like they're heading for a defeat this afternoon. There's still time, though. Chelsea getting ready to make a double change. Datro Fofana, one of those coming on. So is Kovacic. Mateta can't win the header. There's a volley and there's a brilliant save from Kepa. Full stretch away to his left-hand side, actually using his right hand to prevent Doucouré scoring one of the goals of the season. That would have been.
Absolutely. I mean, the technique was brilliant there. It's not exactly in the corner, and that's why he's been able to get to it. He's had 3 very, very good saves. They've all been at decent heights for him, it has to be said, but he's got to save them, and he has.
Corner comes in from the right with pace to the far post. Good flick header away by Badiashile. Here's Will Hughes. Gets to that ball first, immediately crosses in with his left foot to the far post. Tompkins is up. Ball is knocked down to Zaha. Zaha on rushing blue shirts, knock him off the ball. Conor Gallagher is there. He runs into trouble, goes down very easily. Not going to get that decision. Doucouré, good pass from Doucouré, finds Zaha inside the Chelsea area. Little step over, shot blocked by Chalobah, and Crystal Palace win the corner. Conor Gallagher is still down, holding his face at the moment.
Yeah, but it's not a foul. I mean, it definitely wasn't a foul. He's actually fallen into the player and hurt his face that way. That's the first chance, and Zaha has had the ball on the left-hand side running in. Or how many times have we seen him put the ball in the back of the net from there? But Chalobah was clever about it, stayed on his feet, eventually only gave away a corner kick.
Cesar Azpilicueta is waiting to come on for Chelsea as well. Conor Gallagher is still down. Mark Gahey tries to lift him to his feet. Zaha helps. Gallagher keeps trying to go down onto the floor. Palace players not having it. Gahey then shoves Gallagher in the back and sends him off to the side of the pitch. Saw a little bit of this, Pat, in the League Cup quarter-final between Wolves and Nottingham Forest. And Morgan Gibbs, now a Forest player, and some bad feeling with some former teammates at Wolves. Remember, Gallagher, of course, was playing with these guys last season.
He's gone away back. I thought Gallagher was going to be taken off there and substituted. Kovacic is ready to come on. But you know what? I'm not angry with the Palace players there.
No.
He's rolling about there. He's taking an awful lot of time. He's wasting a lot of time there. It's a corner kick. He's not going to get taken off at a corner kick probably, because they don't want to change the system.
Booking dished out to someone, I have no idea who.
It was not obvious, maybe Gahey.
Clear that up in a minute. We're going to head back to St James's Park shortly, but Crystal Palace have a corner. 3 minutes to play. Chelsea leading Palace by a goal to nil. Anxiety inside Stamford Bridge. Header is over the bar from Edouard. That'll be a goal kick. Lee Blakeman is watching Newcastle United against Fulham.
Still 0-0, but Newcastle have just had a great chance. Ball played to Saint-Maximin on the 18-yard line. Tried the curler towards the bottom corner, just the wrong side of the post. Newcastle have just taken off Almiron and brought on Jacob Murphy. Couple of changes for Fulham too. Toshin Adebayo and Dan James have come on, but with 4 minutes to go, it's still 0-0 at St James's Park between Newcastle and Fulham.
Commentary at the closing stage is over on Sports Extra. Chelsea now making the changes. I saw Datro Fofana ready to come on. I don't see him down there now, but I do see Azpilicueta. So Hakim Ziyech is coming off, and Kai Havertz is coming off. Mateo Kovacic is coming on, and Cesar Azpilicueta is coming on as well. And I think we've got a fair bit of added time to be played here at Stamford Bridge as well. Aberdeen 1-0 up against Rangers in that second Scottish League Cup semi-final. Pat Nevin.
It'll be interesting. I mean, Havertz is, at the moment, he's the man who scored the winning goal. He's had 2 other very, very good chances as well. He looks much, much better playing one off a striker. I mean, much better. He's not even close. So he could really do with somebody being acquired at this club can actually play that position. But it's going to be quite defensive now by Chelsea between now and the end of the game.
89th minute of the game. Chelsea 1, Palace 0. If it does finish 1-0 and it's won by that goal, sort of centre forward's header, on the day that Chelsea have paid their fitting tribute to Gianluca Vialli, kind of goal you could have imagined.
It fits,
yeah, exactly. It does fit. It does fit, Pat. Been an emotional day at Stamford Bridge, and this could be a really important win for Graham Potter. New signing announced as well. Mikhailo Mudryk brought onto the pitch at half-time, wrapped in the Ukraine flag. Can Chelsea kill it late in the game? Not with a pass like that. Mason Mount has overhit it. Aubameyang can't control, and behind it goes for a goal kick. We tick over into the 90th minute. Chelsea 1, Palace 0. Little bit more time still to be played at St James's Park. Newcastle 0, Fulham 0.
Yeah, no, but you just get the feeling that Palace, if they could only get you know, a free kick in a dangerous area. Okay, you only get a corner kick. They could put a huge amount of pressure on Chelsea, because what Chelsea have suffered recently, they will be having kittens as this game is going on near the end.
Not done yet. Tyreek Mitchell waiting to take a throw. Graham Potter will be as nervous as anyone down there with his hands thrust deep into the pockets of his coat. Conor Gallagher still battling in that Chelsea midfield. Will Hughes just lofts a hopeful ball forward. Chalobah heads it away. Edouard heads it back. Jorginho just clatters it downfield with his right foot. Difficult for Tompkins to control. Aubameyang closing in. Back it goes to Guaita. Guaita just chips it over the head of Aubameyang. Does well. And here's Guéhi, and Guéhi plays it to Mitchell. 7 minutes of added time starts now. Zaha now playing wide left, takes on Azpilicueta and gets away from Conor Gallagher, and is he tripped by Jorginho? Play continues. Referee wanted to play an advantage. That'll be a free kick. Lee Blakeman, what's going on with you?
Newcastle in the lead. Isak honours a serve with 2 minutes to go. Has got it. Ball in from the right. Header down at the back post. And Isak got the tap in on the line. Everybody's gone sprinting off the Newcastle bench. St James's Park, 52,000 strong, has exploded. Newcastle look like they're going to do it again. Heading for third. Newcastle 1, Fulham 0.
Yeah, going level on points with Manchester United having played a game more, but their goal difference significantly better. Pat?
Yeah, phenomenal. I mentioned earlier on about Palace getting a free kick or a corner kick. Well, here it is.
Hold your breath, Chelsea fans. Maybe you can't look or can't listen. Here's Elise with the free kick towards the far post. Overhit, poor delivery straight behind for a goal kick. That's what you want as a Chelsea fan. Jorginho now down, it looks like, with a little bit of cramp.
Definitely. And I don't think he's acting there. Just the way he went down, it was so dramatic. That was serious cramp right in the back of his, behind his thighs, actually. So he's really feeling it there. They have put the work in. I mean, the one thing with these Chelsea fans, they've been disappointed with the lack of work rate intensity that their team have had. And if you go and watch most top Premier League teams, and the game the other night, I don't know if you watched it, when Aston Villa were playing against Leeds United. Yeah. I mean, I thought the game was 15 aside. The work rate for those players, for both sides, was absolutely phenomenal. And you weren't getting that from some Chelsea players for a period of time. We got it today, and that's why the Chelsea fans are happy here.
Just at a close-up on Patrick Vieira, the Palace manager. I think I would best describe that expression as non-plus. Fourth official getting another earful. Chelsea leading Palace 1-0, half-time at Hampden Park. Roddy?
Rangers 0, Aberdeen 1. Aberdeen shocked Rangers with a goal by Bojan Miovski. Duk was offside. Rangers stopped, but he didn't attempt to play the ball. It bounced on. Rangers still stood. Miovski streaked 40 yards, chipped the goalkeeper. Rangers 0, Aberdeen 1.
Tottenham Arsenal on the way here on 5 Live. Kicks off at 4:30. Azpilicueta finds Aubameyang. The angle's tight, and Aubameyang drives the shot straight at Vicente Guaita.
I know why Aubameyang takes that. You know, he's not got enough goals for Chelsea yet. He's in an area where he's 1-on-1 with the keeper, but it's an impossible angle there. He's got to hold that up. There's players trying to get up level with him, like Kovacic. Could have killed the game off had they done the right thing there. 5 minutes minimum of added time remaining, but I think there's going to be a little bit more than that as well. Chelsea 1, Palace 0. Newcastle 1, Fulham 0. Your two latest scorelines in your 2 o'clock kickoffs, closing stages of Newcastle Fulham over on Sports Extra. So Chelsea-Liverpool next Saturday, Pat, at Anfield. Yeah, it's quite a scary one for both sets of fans. And neither team been doing well at all recently, and certainly with Chelsea's possession, they've not been scoring enough goals, but they'll be delighted with the one today if it's enough.
Chelsea have won a throw on the left. Come in, Lee Blakeman at St James's Park.
Still Newcastle 1, Fulham 0. St James's Park is rocking. 5 minutes of added time. Fulham have just made a triple change. Wilson, Kearney, Vinicius, who got the winner against Chelsea on Thursday night, all coming on. Newcastle with just minutes to hang on. They lead Fulham 1-0.
4 minutes of added time remaining at Stamford Bridge at the moment. Chelsea leading Crystal Palace by 1-0. Manchester United's women now lead Liverpool 6-0 in the WSL. Kovacic chests one down. The ball breaks to Conor Gallagher, about 40 yards from goal. Palace fans now booing him. Koulibaly plays it forward to Kovacic. Out wide on the left it goes. Mount lays it off to Koulibaly, who just runs straight into the ball. It comes off his foot and goes out for a throw-in to Crystal Palace. Tompkins from that throw clears with his right foot up towards Mateta, who is useful in the air. Palace win a throw up by the halfway line on the right.
Just not giving Eduardo Mateta much to feed off just now, and even if it's lumped forward from a full back area, they've got to give him something to go at.
Another ball played forward towards Mateta. Chelsea have managed to deal with it. Here they come again, Crystal Palace. Trailing Chelsea 1-0. Doucouré with his right foot. Plays it out to Elise. Skins Koulibaly. Crosses in with his left foot. That's over the head of Mateta. The Chelsea fans relieved to see Thiago Silva there, the reassuring presence, head the ball away. Zaha takes on Azpilicueta, beats him. Now Chelsea got to be careful with the tackles here. Cross blocked. Azpilicueta says that should be a Chelsea throw. It's a Palace throw on the left.
You know, they've just brought on Azpilicueta. You think, why are you bringing him on? You've already got a right back there. Well, you've got Zaha on the field. That's why you want two right backs.
Zaha's cross finds Doucouré, chests it down on the edge of the box. Everyone back for Chelsea defending this slender 1-0 lead at the moment. Here's Doucouré for Palace, takes it inside Jorginho, got half a foot on the ball just to slow him down. Doucouré in his green boots opens his body up and plays it to Elise. Elise's up against Mount on the right hand side, back to Doucouré, in comes the cross. Edouard jumps for it. Who did that come off last? Corner for Crystal Palace.
I don't think Badiashile agrees with that, but you knew they put a little bit of pressure on. You've just got two big strikers up there and expected, you know, there was a free kick before, the poor delivery. This has got to be better for Palace.
Chelsea fans possibly fearing the worst at the moment. 90 seconds to go, corner comes in, Thiago Silva is there, wins the first header. Doucouré nods it to his right, gets it back from Elise. Elise again, got Kovacic in front of him, wide on that right hand side for Palace. Little shimmy in front of Kovacic, tackle in the end by Gallagher on Doucouré. Another throw in for Crystal Palace as Chelsea desperately try and see this out. Graham Potter very fidgety down on the touchline beneath us. Will Hughes gets another cross into that box. Edouard could have had a flick header there, didn't get enough on it. Jorginho clears, Aubameyang chases, the ball bounces on the halfway line. Aubameyang gets a foot to that ahead of Doucouré. Aubameyang's got three Palace players for company and the ball down the right hand side. Finds Elise, last minute of added time. Chelsea still leading 1-0. Lovely movement from Elise. Plays it to his right. Here's Will Hughes. Cross comes in. Koulibaly with a great block. And Will Hughes, I thought he was going to let it go out for a throw. He didn't. He finds Elise. Elise tries a bit of skill, almost loses it. Then gets another cross in. In it comes. Headed away by Badiashile. Tompkins hits it on the half volley. Gallagher blocks for Crystal Palace. Now the ball at the feet of Wilfried Zaha. What can he conjure up here? Pass across the face of the Chelsea penalty area. Elise slides it down the line to Klein. Klein runs into Mount, keeps going, beats him. Cross comes in. Chelsea deal with it again. Here's Aubameyang, who just swings a boot at it and clears it up to the halfway line.
I can't believe Aubameyang just didn't left it over the defender, Doucouré there. He had the whole pitch to run into and he just tried to lash it.
You can hear the whistles inside Stamford Bridge, desperate for the win. 7 minutes of added time are up on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. Tompkins flicks the ball on. Azpilicueta clears it away. Referee Peter Banks shows no intention to blow the whistle just yet. Palace have it still inside the Chelsea half. Got to be last chance saloon now. Wide it goes to Wilfried Zaha. Gets the cross in with his right foot. Headers up inside the penalty area. Might fall for Edouard. Angle is extremely tight. Sliding challenge on him. That's a goal kick. And that might just be enough for Chelsea.
Well, they've defended really well there, but well done, Palace. Last 3 or 4 minutes. They've thrown everything at Chelsea. Put some decent balls into the box. Chelsea have been pinned back. They are crawling at the end of this game there. The latest player to go down is Thiago Silva. Again, that looks like either a bit of cramp or a bit of intelligence.
Old man Silva taking a rest. Goal kick for Chelsea coming. Full-time whistle on the way. What's happening at St James's Park, Lee Blakeman?
Well, the 5 minutes of stoppage time here are up. We're into added on time. Newcastle huffing and puffing, but Newcastle standing strong. Big clearance by Trippier. 0-0. 1-0 Newcastle, sorry.
1-0 Newcastle and 1-0 Chelsea here. Chelsea awaiting the final whistle. It looks like the Kai Havertz header is going to be enough for only a second win in 10 Premier League games. Graham Potter will breathe an enormous sigh of relief. Game is back underway. Kepa clears, and there it is! Stamford Bridge erupts. A tense, tight 1-0 win over Crystal Palace. But with everything that's been going on recently at this football club and for Graham Potter, that will feel very, very good indeed. A first win in 2023, and at the end there, Pat Nevin, they were really made to work for it.
Yeah, they were, and that's exactly the way it should be. You know, you go a goal down if you're Palace, you just have to take the brakes off and just throw everything you can. They probably feel now they should have done that a little bit earlier, because Chelsea were rocking at the end there. But they managed to keep a clean sheet. Silva, as ever, he's probably the best player in the park again there. He got on the end of everything that was put on, from the crosses, right and left, and from central A as well. I mean, he played brilliantly, but got a lot of help from Badiashile as well today. And Chelsea fans will be thinking, we've been looking alongside for another centre-back, a long time for another centre-back. He might be it, but I say might, it's early days yet. Chelsea over the piece probably deserved it, but Graham Potter finally made a change that worked exactly the way it should have worked.
Yeah, the goal came pretty much straight after. Aubameyang on, Havertz dropped deeper. Chelsea worked a short corner. Havertz headed it into the back of the net, and Graham Potter, I think, can probably look forward to some slightly easier questions in his interviews after the game. He's going to be feeling a whole lot better this evening. Mudryk has joined the club, and Chelsea have beaten Crystal Palace by a goal to nil.